Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I think it's morning for everyone. It is 9 a.m. Arizona time, which is where I am. I hope that it is not like 2 a.m. For some places it probably is 2 a.m., but I hope it's not 2 a.m. for very many of you. Anyway, it is Saturday morning here. We are going to do a craft with me live where I'm going to show you the journals that I have going in progress, and then we're going to try to finish up some. We'll be making ephemera today. We can talk about many different topics today while we're crafting, but today's more casual, more relaxed. We're not making a journal, a specific journal right now. Like, we're not in the middle of a January journal kit or a February journal kit. If you're looking for monthly junk journal kits, the first one launches next Tuesday, and it is the February journal kit. They are offered two different ways, by subscription and by purchasing a single kit only. And so those will be offered next Tuesday. And so the journals you're going to see today are all made from that type of a kit. Every month there's a different kit that comes out, and it has a different theme and different color palette and different materials included, and it makes different styles of journals. So throughout 2026, those kits will launch every month. If you're on subscription, you don't have to worry about being there to purchase because you'll have one reserved for you. But if you just want to pick a certain kit, you want March, but you don't want May, that's an option too, for the single kit. So anyway, the journals I'm showing you today are from those kits. And so we usually make the journal together in 4 classes. Those classes are free. You don't have to purchase the journal kit to participate in the class. And so we do the classes on Saturday morning. And this is kind of like getting us ready to get back into the Saturday morning classes where we make junk journals. So we're just going to finish up some ongoing projects. Now, while I'm doing this, you could be making master boards, you could be making tags, you could be making ephemera bases that are just ready to decorate and they go in that bin. You could be organizing your craft room or whatever it is that you want to do. Have me on in the background, whatever the case may be. Chat with your friends here in chat. Everyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome to participate in live chat. There's no selling today. This is not a live sale. This is simply hanging out with friends and crafting and chatting and making junk journals. So that's what we're doing this morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yes. Happy Saturday. Exactly. As Tim Holtz always says, happy Saturday, everyone. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the journals I have on the go. So I think most of us, when January rolls around, we think about the projects that maybe we sat aside and we meant to come back to and finish at some point in the previous year or years. Some of us have journals that have been on the go for years, and maybe it's been so long that you want to reevaluate your projects, right? So for me, these projects were all made in the last 7 or 8 months. But I do have one particular project. I didn't bring it in here, but I have one particular project. It's a series of 4 bee journals, and that has been on the go for at least 3 or 4 years now. And it may get to a point where you want to take your unfinished project box and you want to open them up and you want to get everything out of there and reevaluate those projects and decide, do I want to really finish this project? Is my heart and soul in it? Has my style completely changed? And now this junk journal, I'm not really passionate about it. I don't really, love the look of it anymore because my style has changed. You need to open up your unfinished project bin, reevaluate those projects, decide which ones you are really going to focus on finishing in 2026, and then the ones that you have unfinished and that you're not feeling super passionate about and you don't think you are actually going to finish in 2026, maybe it's time to rethink those projects. Maybe you want to take those, maybe if they're unfinished journals, you want to take those unfinished journals and maybe you cut out your signature. Like for some of us, that's like sacrilege, but maybe you're not happy about the signature or the cover. Maybe you cut the signature out and you repurpose pages or the whole signature or whatever into a different journal cover. Maybe you repurpose the cover into something else. So don't be afraid. The whole point of this conversation is don't be afraid to take something that you did pour a lot of hours of work into and disassemble it, to reimagine the components of it, because leaving it in a box unfinished year after year after year is not doing you any good. It's not doing the artwork any good. Don't be afraid to pull out those projects, cut them apart, take them apart, disassemble them, reconfigure them in different ways, use them in different journals. Like you could pull the ephemera out and use it in, a different kind of a journal. You could pull the pages out and use those in different projects. You could repurpose the cover into something else. So don't be afraid. It's not like you're destroying something that you made. And it's not like that. Don't think of it like that. While yes, technically you are taking it apart, like I said, it doesn't do anybody any good sitting in that box where no one can see it, no one can appreciate it. You poured all the hours into it. You might as well get something back out by repurposing it. And alternatively, if you cannot bring yourself to repurposing it and taking it apart and disassembling it, my suggestion for you would be to post it for sale in Etsy and say, hey, this is an unfinished journal. Maybe it's a partially finished with some pockets, but no ephemera in the pockets. Maybe it's just a naked journal where you haven't decorated it yet. Maybe it's just a beautiful journal cover and you don't have a signature. Maybe it's bits and pieces of things that you were planning. Just put it into one grouping and say, this is an unfinished journal. I started working on it. You can tell them about your process and just post it for sale. Because honestly, sitting in the box is never going to do you any good. Sitting in the unfinished box is never going to do you any good. So get out those projects, decide which ones you're passionate about still and you want to finish in the 2026 year. And then the ones that you don't, decide, am I done with this? Maybe you want to gift it. Maybe you want to gift it to someone else who might be more passionate about it, or might, maybe they're starting out and they would appreciate having a project that has already been started for them. So gifting it is another good idea. But the whole point is that whatever I'm not finishing in the next couple of months, those need to be reconfigured because they do have a lot of ephemera in them that I've already handmade. I've already taken the time to do, right? So why not pull the ephemera out of a project that I'm not loving the overall look anymore and repurpose the pieces that I do love? So that's my plan. The bee journals, I didn't bring them in here. I should have. I wasn't planning on going down that road, but I don't think I'm gonna finish them. I might finish them. I don't know. Maybe I'll sell them as unfinished. Maybe I'll end up finishing them. Who knows? But they've been in there for 3 or 4 years. So if they're not going to get finished in the next few months, you guys will be seeing bits and pieces of them, or whatever the project ends up being, eventually being offered as unfinished or whatever the case is. But for today, I have Christmas junk journals was the last kit for December. I have those that are unfinished. And all of my journals, there's 3 of every one because I always make things in triplicate. I like to work in triplicate. I think it's fun for me. It allows me to make one of something. And then while I'm making that, whatever it is, maybe I'm making 1 pocket, right? And I'll make the first one and I know right off the bat, I'm making 3. But I'll make the first one. And while I'm assembling and putting together the first pocket, I think about other ways of changing, maybe I change where I put the lace. Maybe I change where I put the, whether I put a ribbon at the top or I put a hole reinforcer or whatever the case may be. But for me, my brain likes to make things in 3s and it likes to make 1. And then sometimes I just literally duplicate it and make 2 more of exactly the same thing. Sometimes I change up a little something, which keeps it interesting and creative for me. So I have 3 Christmas junk journals. And I also, going back one more craft kit, I have, what was it? The 3 July, the French country journals. I have 3 of those. I also have 3 botanical journals and I have 3 fairy journals. And that's what I have unfinished so far. I think that is all of my unfinished projects as far as I can remember. I have finished many of them. I don't know how many journals I sold last year, but whatever was finished was sold last year. And then this year, I'm hoping to get these all wrapped up before we begin the February kit. So what's going to happen is I'm going to sell the February journal kit. on Tuesday, and then it will ship and you'll get it before the end of the month or before the 1st of February. Then you will have the journal to work on throughout the whole entire month of February. And then at the end or towards middle end of February, there will be a new journal kit that comes out for March. It will be offered for sale in the live sale only. And then if you're on subscription, you don't need to be there to purchase. But in March, there will be another journal kit that's shipped to you about the end of the month. You know, you'll get it before the 1st, and then in March, we'll make a new journal. And we'll continue like that, kit after kit, journal after journal, throughout the whole entire year. The only caveat to that is I am planning on moving. So whenever I'm moving, I'm going to try not to have it be disruptive, but in nature, we're disassembling everything I built and reassembling it, configuring it somewhere else. So there may be a little bit of a skipped month or something like that there. But you'll never be charged for something that, you know, I'm not here doing or whatever. So if you're on subscription and we skip a month, you're just skipping that month. You're not paying for that month. We're not making that journal that month, but we'll make the next one. So, and a lot of times a little break is good too, because many people have a hard time finishing a journal in an entire month. So sometimes giving everyone, including myself, a break here or there for a month just to wrap up things that we were working on before is a good idea too. So thank you all for joining me this morning. I see that 48 of you jumped on. I'm going to show you how these are stored and how I've been kind of organizing them. Now, keep in mind, my organization right now is not my organization. It's basically finding a place to put things and try to corral the mess, because as you know, this is not my craft room and I constantly have to take things out of this room and into this room and back into my craft room all the time. Also, my craft room needs completely gone through, and I need to sell, share, give away, donate, whatever, probably 80% of what is in that room at this point. And I will do that as we move as well, just because I don't want to move things I'm not going to actively be using. And when I do make a new craft room for myself at the new house, I want to make sure that it is focused on junk journal making, because my old craft room, there's a craft room tour video on this channel. It's the very first video I ever made for YouTube. It's the craft room tour video. There's only one of them. If you look on my channel, you'll find it. You can see the whole entire craft room, and basically nothing has changed since that video, other than I've probably quadrupled the amount of items in that room through purchasing fabric and purchasing papers and whatever. So when I move, first of all, that craft room that is in that craft room tour video, it shows all my organization in that room. Now, I am not able to really utilize that room very much anymore because it's very full, and it has a filming setup, but it doesn't have the monitors and the things for live chat. I was using an iPad at that time with an iPad holder, a little gooseneck kind of iPad holder. Anyway, the point of it is in that room, there's beading stuff for actual jewelry making. In that room, there's regular old traditional 12 by 12 scrapbooking kits and projects that I was, working on in there. And then there's card making stuff. And there's a bunch of like dies, like steel metal dies that I honestly will never use, or probably will never use, because right now the only thing I am able to produce is junk journals. So when I move, I want to thin out probably 80% of what is in that room and only bring things that I'm going to use for making junk journals, because all of us crafters, all of us creative people, we generally get into one hobby and then we'll move or pivot and have some supplies for another hobby. Even if your overall hobby is just junk journal making, chances are you have some sewing things. Chances are you might have some more artists, more fine artists, watercolor, whatever, oil paints, whatever. You might have some fine art supplies. Then you also might have some beading supplies because, you're making bead dangles, whatever. But if it's junk journal related, I will keep it. But there's a lot in there that is not junk journal related anymore. Yes, it could be used for a junk journal, but will I probably use it? No. And it goes back to the unfinished project box. If I don't really see myself using it in the next year, I need to pass it on to somebody else who will. And it's a space thing. It's a mental space thing. It's not great to have too much stuff clustering your room, right? Your space or your mind. So anyway, that's what's happening here. Let me show you the journals. Let's flip this camera down there. We will take a peek at these. Thank you for joining me, guys. Oh my gosh, all of you joining me today. Okay, we have a bunch of different bins and boxes and whatever, and I'm just going to very quickly go over these. Let's start with the oldest junk journal first, right? So right now they are stored in little baskets. It could be a plastic basket box, whatever. Yeah, baba. It could be a plastic bin box, tote, whatever. I like the size of this one because it's basically the size of a junk journal. And so this is the fairy junk journal box. Everything that is in here is, how can I show you this? Exactly. Everything that is in here is for the fairy journals. And so since I have 3 of them, I have ephemera that is already made. Like, you know, here's some tags. There's some little clusters in there. This is actually not for fairy. This is botanical. So there is some botanical journal stuff stuck in here in the front. Quite a bit, actually. Then we go to fairies. Maybe it was stuff that I wasn't sure if it was going to go in this journal or another journal. But there's just miscellaneous things that are, you know, maybe I'll stick it in there as ephemera. There's unfinished bases in here. This does need organized quite a bit. But in the back are my 3 fairy journals. And so I've got 3 fairy journals in process. What do the fairy journals look like? Well, for those of you that were not around way back when we did these fairy journals, this is kind of how fairy journals look. And they were a quilt-based journal, and we'll have quilty kits this year also. But this is a quilt-based journal, so you get a piece of a quilt for the cover, and then, you know, you get your laces and stuff, and everything that you see here, pretty much except for a couple laces and trims, was included in the kit. And so that's that one. And I'm just going to quickly show you some of the inside. I won't go through the whole entire thing. This one has ephemera in it. Like basically it just needs some finishing. The ephemera needs glued in, but you know, it really is pretty much done. Like I said, most people would consider this done. Yes, ephemera needs to be glued in, but it's really ready to go. Really ready to go. And I have 2 more just like it, where I also have the ephemera. But I need to sit down one day and just glue in pockets. Because all of these journals need pockets glued in. I've made the pockets, but I don't, you know, I didn't put the ephemera in them. So anyway, this is the fairy journal. Has a bunch of different tags and whatever, you know. Maybe I was deciding which one to put in there, whatever. But this is kind of how the journals go together. So that's fairy. And, you know, it does need a little zhuzhing, and a closure. But there's 3, so there's that one. And then for fairy ephemera, I kind of showed you the bin and the box. And I just like to keep the journals in the back. The journals in the back, and then all the ephemera in the front. If there's unfinished bases that go with a project, I'll leave them in there until I get this project done. And then I will take whatever is left over from this bin that didn't go in the fairy journals, and I will see if I can fit it into a different like theme. Maybe I have a tag that is able to be used in a different journal or something, and then I will take that and put it into the next bin, and then keep repurposing that stuff until it finds a home, right? I do have one box that is just all unfinished ephemera, and I will show you that too. So the next journal after the fairy is the botanical. And the botanical one, he has some other projects in the front, but botanical journals are back here. All of the ephemera for botanical journals stuck in here. There's different little booklets and tags, and there's some unfinished bases from a masterboard back there. And so as I work on these journals, if I need something, I've got some unfinished bases. So that's always nice to have those in your box. But there's a lot in here. And again, you're going to see the journal. It's just where more than likely we just need to glue some stuff in because all of it's made. And a lot of this we did make together in the 365 series, or in other lives we made it in. So there's quite a bit of ephemera in there for 3 journals. Some things I want to repurpose up here in the front. More journal cards. There's some ephemera. These were the dried flower tags that I made with the laminator, and I thought they would go in there. So let's take a peek at the botanical journal. And the botanical journal might be the oldest. I don't remember which one actually came first, fairy or botanical. But the botanical one has elastic closure. And it's just an elastic closure card that I made. And, you buy the elastic on Amazon and put it around your journal. But this one was made from a collaged envelope, a big, huge mailing envelope. We just collaged a bunch of things on. And instead of lace, because it's more botanical, I didn't want to put a bunch of lace in it. I just used the ticking fabric there. And I like that too, because it doesn't cover up permanently your beautiful collage, right? So it's nice that that's removable. Let me give myself just a little bit more room here. And so on the inside, this one had, because it was an envelope, it had a window in it. It had several actually. And so we made tags that can go in those envelopes. It's all bent from being rubber banded together. Anyway, we'll get that in there eventually. Then you guys know how I like to do my little pages in the front. This is kind of the botanical journal. And see, it does have ephemera. It's basically ready to go. It just needs some zhuzhing. And I need to finish the other two. This was a big pull-out belly band. Yeah, that goes both ways, both directions. And then there's a belly band back there for a card. So that was that. I liked that project. That was fun. We could do something similar. But yeah, this is botanical. And it has a lot of ephemera in it. Like, honestly, I made too much ephemera for all of these journals. I can see that we still needed to make a journal card for this. So there's a few things that needed glued on. This was a embossed paint chip. Some fun projects to look back and remember making from 2025. For sure, I really love the journals. That's why I make them, is because I love them. Very passionate about it. It brings me so much joy to make them. And it also brings me joy to share, the process with all of you. And, we have fun together. We have fun making them together. So that's that. This is the paper that I tucked in the front right here underneath the belly band for the new owner of this journal. But while I'm working on the journal, I kept it back here in the back. So there's the botanical series. Let's talk about the French country, and then let's talk about Christmas, which is the most recent. And most of you guys have seen Christmas. Also in the front right here, on a side note, I have some mini journals that were made out of greeting cards. And these were made out of the Italian Florentine greeting cards. I made them last year, and they just have little closures like this, and they're just very simple. I still want to do this project in its entirety with you guys one more time. I did do this on the live and showed you before, but I will do it again this year. And it's just a greeting card. So any type, like even the Christmas cards that you all just, hopefully, that you all just got a Christmas card, right? Don't throw the cards away. If you like the image on the front, repurpose it into a journal. So this is just a little mini journal made out of just a greeting card. It opens up. And in mine, I do like to put the normal things that we would put. I kept it very simple. Because it's a greeting card, it doesn't hold a giant signature, but it has a lot of fun pages in it. I always put some ledger in there, put some fun things for people to play with. There's a little baggie here that they can put a tag in or whatever. But, I pretty much make them like I make my big journals. I just make them really small. And so it's just a little, you could give this to a friend. It's a great little thank you gift. They could tuck it in their purse and just write notes in it if they need to. But also like a little monthly journal where they could write, gratitude or just some thoughts in, and then change it up every month. This is a great size for someone who's just starting out with, maybe journaling too. It's not intimidating as giving them a whole big book. So there's the ones I made last year. There's a couple of those ones, and somewhere else there's more, but I don't know where that went. So we'll find them eventually. The next one, the next journals are the French country. However, in the top up here, there is a whole big pile of ephemera that just got shoved in here that is not French country. And then there's other projects that we made together that are not French country, but this is what happened. So, let's go over some of this quick. So this was made in 365 series, and I don't remember what journals these were for, but you could see, like, I could tuck this in the fairy journal. It's pink. I don't know if you guys can see it's pink, but I could tuck it in the fairy journal. But as I made stuff for 365 journal, or for 365 video series, I just put it in the top up here, more so because I didn't have time to actually put it where it belonged. But anyway, there's quite a bit of stuff. So I have enough ephemera to fill all of these journals. I just need to sit down, and I was saving these to make a little tag charm. I just need to sit down and finish. So basically, like I said, it's gluing in pockets, and it's filling those pockets and maybe adding like the lace and the finishing touches. These are a bunch of, I had a bunch of little scraps of Florentine paper, and I took them and glued them to cardstock. And then I punched them out with a whale tail punch so that I have the perfect Florentine whale tails all the time. So there's a baggie of those. If you're bored today, glue some Florentine paper to some cardstock and cut yourself out some whale tails. This is where I used the whale tails. So a whole big bunch of projects are going to be shown today. And these are they're not journal cards. I mean, they could be used for that. But what I made these for is to be glued down to the side of a page as a tuck, a little tuck. And then this will hang out the front edge of the journal and you'll be able to turn the page with it that way. But that's what those were. And you can see I've got my beaded bookmarks down here. I've got, I don't know, tons of other unfinished ephemera projects apparently. There's bases down there. There's some envelopes I made, some doily pockets, more bases. This is a bunch of fabric clusters. We made a bunch of fabric clusters together. So this bin has a lot of different things, but up here in the front, we do eventually get to the French country ephemera, which you guys can kind of see some French country ephemera in there. There's more French country ephemera. I don't know how much you actually can see on this camera, but here's a French country journal. Which one? They're rubber banded. I'm doing this live. Yeah, making a mess is what I'm doing. Let's see. We have 3 French country journals. None of them have a decorated front cover. They have lace on the spine. Oh, this one does. Never mind. They all have decorated front covers. Here's the 2. Here's the 2 that are decorated. I'm not saying that they're finished being decorated, but they at least have some decoration on the front cover of them, right? So French country was July of this year. Let's see. These ones, ooh, I love the cover. It's so thick and lovely. These ones, I'm going to need to open it up. There we go. This is a pocket I apparently intended to put here. But anyway, pockets need to be glued in. We've got Florentine paper in there. I don't think, well, I guess we did put ephemera in here. This is a pocket, triple pocket with a tag back there. So this was French country. It was all red, white, and blue themed for the French flag. You could have made it for the American flag. You could have made it more patriotic for America. You could make all of the journal kits. Like if you don't like the specific theme, they're so adaptable to whatever theme you want to make. So while you might not like France and you might not want to make a French country journal, you could obviously use all of these supplies and make whatever kind of journal that you wanted to make. So they're all the kits have enough supplies to make a beautiful journal and whatever kind of theme you want to adapt it to. You're not stuck to whatever theme I decide to make that day, right? So there's a little expanding tuck on the side that's clipped in. This was one of those laminated little pockets with dried flowers. We made lots of ephemera for this series as well. Little pockets. got some envelopes. So this one made in July. Oh, I love this belly band idea too, with the 3 little pockets and then a belly band underneath. All of the ephemera, if you want to see how it was made, you can watch the 365 video series. This is a big one that opens up back there in the back. It's kind of like an exploding pocket. And so this gets glued to the back, and then you can put a tag down the back of it. So there's French country. That leads us to, and this one is slightly different. This one is more farmy. So there were 2 different variations. I've got piles of ephemera falling. There were 2 different variations of this journal. One with farm animals and one without. And so I'll quickly flip through and show you. Like there's the belly band with some stuff in it. I just used different things in different journals so that they're not exactly identical. But there is farm animals somewhere in here. I don't exactly know where, but somewhere there's farm animals in this one. Of course, you know, when you say that, you never can find them. But there are farm animals in here, I promise. I literally cannot find a farm animal. But somewhere there's more lovely farm animals. So those are three of the journals that we made last year. I will get mine finished. I have one more back there. Let me get this ephemera tucked back in here. And this postcard. And how a normal person would organize this is way different than how I'm organizing it. But, you know, when you're doing videos, you really run out of time fast. So, this is a box of finished ephemera. It's just ephemera that I made, and that it never made it into any journal or journal series. It easily could be put into a journal. It just, you know, if I need it, it's here. If I don't need it, then it's not here. Like, you know, it'll just sit in this box for forever until I need it, right? And so, yeah, there's a bunch of unfinished, and well, I guess this is all finished. This is all finished ephemera. So I've got some large tags that I made. I like this one too, with little fabric-y clusters at the top. That's some pieces and bits that were used for this project. We've got a fairy glassine bag. So if we need extra fairy things, there's more fairy things in here. There's some lace and quilty snippets that got shoved in the top of this box. I loved all of these tags too. Just some basic neutral color tags. You can't even see. They're Robin's Egg blue paper on there, but you cannot see them. But these, you know, if you make things neutral like this, you could put them in any journal. So if you need a tag quick, they're already on copy dyed paper. If you want a project idea for today, make yourself a very neutral masterboard. Make sure that you include some amazing French rag paper with handwriting, but make yourself a very neutral masterboard, and then emboss some white paper with your favorite embossing folders. And just put little snippets of that embossed paper to decorate. And it's really beautiful. Really little beautiful tags. So there's that. But these go in any journal and they go in any pocket, and they're just lovely and neutral. So there is more fairy things in here, and there's more folios. And here's some pockets with lace on them. But if you make a lot of ephemera, you end up with a lot of ephemera very quickly. And so, yeah, I do have enough to finish these journals. I need to sit down, and I need to glue in pockets, and I need to just zhuzh up the journals for their final flip through video. And then after that, we're ready to go. They can be sent off to their new homes. So that's kind of where I'm at. This is a Florentine journal cover that I made last year. I just took Florentine paper and I covered a piece of watercolor cardstock. And I put Florentine paper on the outside and I put Florentine paper on the inside. And this is a journal cover. I don't usually make covers that are just empty, right? Usually I sew a signature in. But this is just a journal cover that needs a signature popped in it. And it'll be rounded out and beautiful in no time. And I do have some signature pages and stuff in another bin, but this is where we're at for lovely things. And it is nice to have it all ready, right? Because then if I was a normal person, I could sit down and I could just spend like a couple hours every Saturday and just glue some pockets in and decorate. And honestly, that's the most fun part of making a junk journal for a lot of people. So yeah, we're close. We're very, very close to finishing these. All right. So for Christmas journals, that's the only one left for me to show you is the Christmas journals. We have 3 Christmas journals. There's 2 that don't have decorated covers, and there's 1 that does. And of course, you can't see it, but this is a Christmas tree green. It is not teal. It is regular Christmas tree green, but the camera does not like blue and green. So that's what we have. And this, I didn't do any work on this. I just left it exactly the way we left it. But this is my Christmas journal. And so I've got lovely old pages. I like combining, printables with copy dye, with old book pages. I think it's nice to add the old with the new. Very cute. I love my journals. I think other people do too, but I when you make something, you need to love it, right? You need to love it. Your heart needs to be in it. You need to feel like, if you're in love with it, other people will be in love with it too. And so, make sure that when you're making things, you're making things that you love. This is a flip out pocket. Make sure you're making things that you love. When you make something that you love and you're passionate about, I think that the love and passion that you pour into the project, it does 2 things. It gives you a lot of joy, and it makes doing what you're doing fun. It makes it enjoyable, right? You get the joy of creating, but it also, when you share your work by selling or gifting or whatever you're doing, it makes other people happy. So, and if you're doing videos, that's also sharing. It's just sharing in a different format. And that's also good. And a lot of people, they like watching what other people are doing for inspiration, for ideas, just to hang out with them while they craft also. So this one is the last one. And we have ephemera made for it. I don't know. I can show you a handful of ephemera, but we have ephemera made for these, and these are basically the same thing where I need to sit down and glue pockets in and fill pockets. So that's that. Just make sure that you're making something that you love. And so people worry about like, oh, well, people might not like what I'm making. People might not think what my artwork is good enough, all of that kind of stuff. If you love making what you're making, there's 2 things. You could love the item that is finished. You could love the output, or you could love the process. So sometimes we watch somebody make something and then we try to replicate it, or we try to, make it our way. And sometimes we love how it came out, but there's sometimes where we don't love how it came out. And so I encourage you to make whatever it is you want to make. If you love it at the end, great. But if you don't love it at the end, just think of it as, I enjoyed making. I enjoyed the process of creating. And while you were creating that, you probably learned, right? You probably expanded your knowledge of something. You learned more about collage. You learned more about color theory. You're learning while you're making. And so even if you don't love the output at the end, you probably enjoyed the process of creating. B, you might have learned, hey, I really am not into mixed media. Mixed media is not my forte. I don't want to do that kind of technique again. I'm more, I like a different kind of style. So even if you didn't love it, you learned, right? But even the project that you make that you might not be in love with, you might not think came out good, don't throw it in the trash. Never throw it in the trash. If you want to, you could try repurposing it and making it into something else. You could try collaging something over the top of it, which is probably the easiest way to cover up something that you're not in love with. But if it comes down to, hey, I just don't want to play with this anymore, donate it. Send it in a little happy mail and just put it in a bag and say, hey, I made this. It's not really my style. I learned, about whatever technique it is or whatever, and I enjoyed the process, but I don't love the output. I'm just passing it along to see, maybe maybe it is more your style, or maybe you know how to fix it, or maybe, you can repurpose it or something like that. I think it's fine to, happy mail, send some of those things, obviously send, things you do like as well. But I think it's okay to put it in a little, little bag, or put a little note on it and say, hey, I made this. I learned the process. It's just not my forte. I didn't really like how it came out, but I thought maybe you would know how to repurpose it or something. Just pass it along. If you throw it in the trash bin, it's over and it's dead. And ultimately, sometimes we do need to do that as crafters, but very rarely will I do it. I'll usually just collage something over the top of it. All right. Are we ready to move on and do something? Are we ready to move on and do something? There is a handful of Christmas ephemera in a different plastic bin. Thank you for joining me, guys. Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy that you guys are finishing your Christmas journals. A lot of you actually finished them in time for Christmas, and a lot of you have not even started yet because life happened and Christmas is a busy time for everyone and all that kind of stuff. So no pressure. You guys finish things at your own pace. I will finish things at my own pace. So anyway, I'm going to start back with the fairy journal. I think this one is probably the closest to completion, and that's where I'm going to start today. I have all the other bins over there so I can pull ephemera if I need. I have a little tray of most used things that I travel from room to room to room. And then we're going to need a bin. I need a space is what I need. I need to move some bins. I need a space. Let's turn these bins sideways so I can fit this one up there. Pardon me while I rearrange my desk, because I need to bring up a big bin that has a lot of paper goods. A lot of paper goods and glue. All right, so this is the big bin of papers and glues. And what I need that for is I keep all of the collagey paper bits, the papers that I've decided, we can cut up, we can tear up, that kind of thing, are in that bin. And of course, my glues. The 3 glues I'm using today are Fabri-Tac. This is for anytime I'm gluing fabric to anything. That's what's called Fabri-Tac, right? Fabric, lace. I don't use it for paper. A lot of people do, but I prefer art glitter for paper. So art glitter glue and Uhu glue stick. Uhu is always what I use for collaging thin papers especially. And then art glitter for the thick cardstocky like Tim Holtz pieces and thicker cardstock paper. If I'm putting a pocket in a journal, I always put it in with art glitter glue. Unless it's like a full-on fabric thing, and then I'll put it in with that. So there's glues. How are you guys doing out there? Thank you for spending some of your Saturday with me. Oh, Lisa, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you all. You guys are so kind, not only to me, but to each other, which also makes me happy. I love seeing the kindness in the Facebook group. For sure. Do we have any new people watching today? Is anybody out there watching me live for the first time today? Anybody new watching for the first time? So let's see what we need to do with this guy. Maybe this one is like really close to being finished. It could use a pocket right here. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but it could use a pocket right there. Let's see. I really need a little bit more space. I need the ephemera out of there. Never mind. Amy's old. Touch of Serenity. It's your second time. I forget. Can you tell me your first name? And hello and welcome. Welcome back. So this little project, it needs a card put in here. And it could use a little more decorating. This I left. You could journal on it, or you could glue something to it and add in a little page. I'm going to leave that for the new owner to play with because I don't know how they will want to use it. You could just straight on journal here. You could decorate it, or you could glue a page to it and have like a little flip page. And when they glue a page on, they could make it a tuck back there as well. So there's a lot of options with the envelope flap, and I'm just going to leave it. But we do need a card right here, and I think we could probably zhuzh this up a little bit with something. So let me find a journal card that will go back there in the back. I have right off the bat this one. And so if it will fit in this pocket, I might slide it in there. Maybe it might fit, or maybe not. No, it's too big, but we have other options. Both of those are the same size. Got mushroom things for the botanical. I don't know if you guys can't really see the bin. These little Tim Holtz things are in there because I like to repurpose them and make little notepads with them. I need a fairly flat journal card. Little flat journal card that could go in that little pocket. A lot of you guys have been around with me for a long time. And you guys, this is a cute journal card. I just took one of those music cards and did the little edge punch on it. And that was just kind of live in a video. But we're just going to tuck that in there because you can journal on the back of it. We'll peek it out right there on the side. I think that looks cute. We're good with that. Do I want to do a little decorating back here though? And is this backed? It is backed. Let's do a little something here. Honestly, just a little Tim Holtz flower that would brighten that up. It's pretty dark. It's pretty dark. That was on the top of a bin. It's pretty dark. Let's see if we could add something. Like, I like it, but it's the wrong size and shape. I need a little Tim Holtz flower for right there. No, but perhaps I will find one eventually. I have this little card. I think it's better tucked into a pocket. Let me see what else is in the top of this bin. What if we did it like a little family album where there were people down there? I kind of like that because it's like photos. Like a waterfall photo album. These little girls are cute and they're kind of better to go that direction. Yes. I think we'll do them. So all I have is very basic supplies in this room. And that's one of the driving factors for moving, is so that I have more space. So that, because I feel like my videos and my work is being cramped. My style is being cramped because I don't have access to all of my things, and I don't while I'm making a video here, I can't just constantly go in the other room and dig through a bin for half an hour to find what I'm looking for, right? So I feel like my style is also being altered. It's being held back because I don't have access to all of my things. And when I move, I will have a new filming setup and a new room that will allow me much more creativity, variety of ephemera pieces to use. So I think it will make better content, A, and I think it will make me happier, B, to just have all of my stuff where I can actually reach it and use it. We need a little flower, little something right there. But so that's kind of one of the good things about moving is I'll eventually have the perfect junk journal making room and filming studio. And I think we'll be able to make better content for you guys, make, things that you enjoy watching. Keep trying to put like a little butterfly right there. It's just not the right color palette. I think if I inked it, I might be happy because there's a butterfly card. Let me see if I can find one more tiny little butterfly quick. Anyway, you guys get what I'm trying to say. Moving will be good. I won't be so cramped and limited in the style of videos that I can make and limited in the way I can decorate because I don't have access to all my things. Like, I've spent all the money, I've bought all the things, but I cannot use all the things because I cannot get to them. So it's kind of frustrating. I'm sure you guys are, if you've collected a bunch of things like I have, I'm sure that you guys are right there with me where, you want to get to your things. You want access to your things. It's a little too big. Every one of them is just a little not right. How about this guy? I think we can live with him, but he's almost identical to that. Anyway, when we have craft rooms, they fill up quickly, right? They fill up with all of our supplies quickly for most of us, right? If you're lucky enough to have a craft room, because a lot of people, they're crafting on their dining table or, their coffee table or wherever they're able to fit it in. And I used to craft on my dining table. I think that's where everybody pretty much starts. It's like the only flat surface we have. So that's where we craft. I'm going to ink this quick and see if I like it better with a little ink. I just want to tone down the brightness and mute those colors a little more. I'll get the edges as well. Oh, let's see if I like that a little better. It's okay. I can live with it. It's just a little pocket. I might like this one better, and I'm going to ink it and try it. I just don't like being held back, and I feel like it's pretty common. Yeah, see, that one's just not the right shape. We're going to go with that one. Being held back because you can't find your supplies, you can't get to your supplies, you can't whatever. That's a common problem for all of us. Yeah, there are some amazing craft rooms out there, and you guys, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it good. So when I get my new craft room, I'll be sure to film. We'll film lots of things as we move and do this process. Just sharing a lot of different kind of content this year about my processes, about behind the scenes stuff. I told you when we do these unboxings, we're going to try to film some just kind of how stuff comes and what we need to do to process it. Because it's not just like it comes in the door and then it goes back out. You do have to spend quite a bit of time and effort and money processing the stuff that comes from Europe. So we'll show you lots of that. You guys will be along for the ride. All right, so we did the little, I'm happy because it just has a little more there, right? And it's for journaling, but they could glue in whatever pockets they want to glue in. It was stuck right there. They could glue in pockets It was just a simple little waterfall. It was made out of copy dyed paper, and I just made a little waterfall, and it has a pocket on the side. So, okay, I'm happier with that now. This one, I think I just had a bunch of options of what to put here. That's kind of ledger and ledger. I think we opted for this one because I like the blue in her fairy wings with the blue on that page. So we're going to go with that one, which leaves me some other ephemera to tuck in somewhere. So on this side, we did a pocket here, and this is a vellum pocket over top of, so there's actually a double pocket here. This lady can go right in there. And then that gentleman could be back there in the back. If we wanted her to, we could do that. I mean, it's pretty cute. Let's see if I need her somewhere else before I commit to sticking her in there. Also, it looks like he needs inked around. So a lot of times I do the inking live or whatever, but if I'm making 3, I don't feel like making you guys sit here while I ink something. So I do have to go through all of my journals at the end and make sure everything is inked front and back. Occasionally one might get past me and I, miss something, but I do my best, and I go through one time before I film the flip through and just put, I haven't re-inked this in months, but just put some ink on, making sure things are inked. So there's a double pocket. He goes in the back. She goes in the front. Maybe. We'll come back to that. This one has a really big pocket. Organizing is definitely a big part of this hobby. So she has, and it's so beautiful. I thought about putting it on the front before I put this pocket here, but she has, or this has a very large pocket back here. Now we might put a tab on the end of her. I mean, she goes pretty far down in there. We could try putting one of those Florentine tabs on the edge of her card. Where are those? Which bin did we put Florentine tabs in? And this is why it's good to have these on hand, right? And just use a bunch of different Florentine paper scraps, like the scrap packs that we've been making for you guys and sharing with you all. The scrap packs, if you have something that's just too small and, you use part of it, whatever, it's a good way to just sit down and make some little tabs and use those up. I think I like this one because it has more blue and less teal. Maybe this one. I know they're all the same to lots of you, but to me, I'm looking at a specific little bit here. I actually want this one. I want the blue that matches her fairy wings. So we're going to put a tab on that. And this is the small little work that, it makes a big impact, but it does take a lot of time. And so that's why you'll see a lot of journals go out there on the marketplace and, they're great journals, but there's just little things that maybe a little bit of time or a little bit of effort would have probably made a difference. And so we can talk about Etsy too. I'm not going to get fully into that subject, but I will talk about it with you guys. So a lot of people start Etsy's. Actually, I want to make an Etsy video. And the reason why I want to make an Etsy video is because a lot of people have questions, and it's better if I put it in a video form than having to try to do it live. People have questions and they might need to rewatch, and plus my thought train when I'm explaining stuff about Etsy, I need to be not crafting, and I need to just be making a video and telling you guys the information. So I think I'm going to make the Etsy video. But overall, a lot of people start the year with a goal to start an Etsy store, and it's a great goal, and Etsy is a great place to start. Etsy is a really great place for beginners to start out. And the reason why I say that is it's not just for beginners, but Etsy's whole model of doing business is creating a platform that is easy for beginners to start an Etsy account. First of all, start an Etsy store, It's very, very beginner friendly. There's super simple steps to creating your first listing, to starting your store. So if you are thinking of starting, selling, your handmade journals, your handmade things like that, Etsy is a great place to go. They have many tutorials, but I will eventually film something that's far more in depth and show you exactly how I did mine and the thought process for organizing certain parts of it. Because there's some more things that, it's easy to start an Etsy store, but there's some more things that I wish, and maybe it's hard for Etsy to say these kinds of things because Etsy is a big marketplace, right? Etsy has a lot of sellers for a lot of different things. Well, what I'm talking about is junk journal making. And so this advice I'm going to give you is starting a store in Etsy. That's what they call them, a shop. And starting the Etsy shop geared towards selling handmade junk journals, or maybe you make maybe you just get on a kick one day and you are just making 100 fabric clusters or fabric flips, and you're like, okay, well, I had fun making them, but what am I going to do with 100 fabric flips? So maybe you make way too many of something and you're like, I'm going to put these in Etsy. And honestly, all junk journals will sell in Etsy. All, if you make ephemera and, you make a bunch of tags, they'll sell in Etsy. Ephemera sells really well in Etsy because nobody wants to spend the time making it. So I don't think this is going to pop out the top of this. I mean, it kind of sits there. It's better, but it still will sag all the way in there. So the option for fixing that, if this bothers you that this sags down in there, the option for fixing it is to add a line of glue in here that will keep this from going too deep in the pocket. I don't want to do that because it's going to limit how the pocket can be used for the new owner. So I'm just going to tuck that there and it'll stick as much as it sticks. And if it falls in, it falls in, and I'm okay with that. But at least it has a little tab on it now. And this got all crinkled up right here. And I'm probably going to need to make an adjustment. And so we're along for the ride. This is sewn in. If I don't like what I'm doing, then it's sewn in. So the way that I'm going to fix what's happening here is I'm just going to tear it like a torn piece of paper because it got all bent up. And this part right here is on the edge of a pocket. So I got to be kind of careful. But, it's sewn into my signature. If I mess it up, it's there forever. But there's nothing that can't be fixed, right? So now this page is not butting up against this one and getting all bent up. I've rough torn it. I like the way it looks. It's all good for me. It's fine. I'm going to add some ink just to make it look a little more intentional instead of just like, hey, I just tore this page. But anyway, back to Etsy. A lot of people have a goal of starting one in 2026, and I think it's a great idea. I encourage you guys to do it. Etsy, I think, is the best place for you guys to go and to try to sell what you hand make. It's a very big marketplace. There's a lot of people on there already looking for that kind of thing. Etsy's job is to bring the buyers to you. However, I will tell you, in all honesty, you are going to have to do the work yourself. Etsy will bring you some, its job is to be there and to be a marketplace. But like I said before, Etsy is a big marketplace, and it's a marketplace for everyone. It's not just your marketplace, it's a marketplace for everybody. And so while Etsy will bring you some eyes on your products and some purchases of your products, Etsy doesn't do it all. You can't just start an Etsy store and open it up and put products in it and just let it sit there and count on Etsy to do all the hard work for you. Etsy doesn't do all the hard work for you. They do a lot of it, but they don't do all the hard work. Now, if you are lucky, the products that you list in Etsy will sell and you'll be happy just with, listing them in Etsy and that kind of thing. But for many people, you need to do the legwork yourself to bring people to your Etsy store. And so This is actually just a little journal card, and it needs a decoration on it before I stick it. Well, all of these need decorated actually. But anyway, what I'm talking about is my suggestion to you is to open that Etsy store, put some products in that Etsy store. But the other thing that you need to think about is how buyers are going to find your Etsy store. And honestly, the best way for them to find you is for you to bring them there yourself through starting a YouTube channel and making craft videos, or there are some junk journal groups on Facebook and they allow you to share your Etsy store. When we first started out, that was exactly what my intention was, is for everyone to share their Etsy store. However, my group is a little bit different than most people's Facebook groups. My group is more buyers and followers of me specifically, and it doesn't work well when we allow other people into that group who are then being like, oh, well, this is all of her buyers. I watch her videos. I see what she sells. And this is all of her buyers. And I'm going to advertise my Etsy store in here. And then that would be fine, except for a lot of people can't follow the rules and they take it too far. And then they'll start watching my live sales. They'll see who's buying the most. They find them in my Facebook group. And then they start private messaging them. Hey, here's my Etsy. Here, I'm selling this. Do you want to buy my journal? And so it got to a point very early, very quickly, where I said, okay, you guys can share Etsy links. You guys can post, like if you made a journal, you used to be able to sell it in my Facebook group. And the reason why we had to take away sales from the Facebook group and posting your links and stuff like that is because people just abuse the heck out of it. And I didn't want to have to spend an hour or two every day, you know, telling people, hey, you can post this thing that you made, but you can't post this. I didn't want to have to be the police of it. I didn't want to have to be the police of, you private message 100 people from my group today, you have to be banned and kicked out. And then of course they always come back and, like, oh, well, I was just sending them my links and, you don't own them and like all this stuff. And I was like, but it's not the point of it. The point of it is you're in a Facebook group with rules. And so first of all, that's not how I grew my business. I didn't grow my business by being backstabbing, right? I grew my business from hard work. And if you want to grow your business, you're going to have to work hard too. And so I just did not want to be the police of a Facebook group that I created to create joy. And so very early on, when I allowed people to put their links in and advertise their Etsy stores, and you used to be able to post a journal for sale, it became where I had to be the police. Somebody posted a journal for sale and they said that you had to pay them with PayPal friends and family only. And somebody in our group actually bought the journal and sent them PayPal friends and family only, like the payment. And if you send friends and family, there's no guarantee that you'll get your item. And sure enough, they did not get their item. And then they messaged me and said, hey, I paid this lady, $185 and she's not answering me. Can you contact her? And then of course I'm like interjected into the middle of this. And I tried to contact the person. The person just did not respond to me. They didn't respond to the other person. And because the person bought something, and this is good advice anywhere. If a seller is selling you something and they say that you need to send them PayPal friends and family literally means it is a friend in real life that it's a real person. It's one of your real friends. Family is like your children, your family. It is not meant for selling things to strangers on the internet and paying strangers on the internet. And if you pay with PayPal friends and family, you will never get your item and you will lose your money. Let's just go with that train of thought. It does work out for some people, but again, it has the potential to go terrible. And this lady bought a journal. It was $185. The lady did not send her the journal. Then the lady was mad at me because it was my Facebook group it happened in. And then the other lady, of course, was just scamming people. And I'm like, okay, I can't be in the middle of all of this. And I just didn't have the bandwidth. I don't have the bandwidth to be in the middle. So that's why we don't do it in our group. But there are other Facebook groups that, the other Facebook groups, they're not making YouTube videos. They're not importing things from Europe and selling these things. And they just have a Facebook group. And if you just have one Facebook group, it's very easy to take the time to manage that, right? And they have admins and, you know, there are other Facebook groups that work really great for posting the things that you make for sale. And there are other Facebook groups that allow you to put your Etsy links in and stuff like that. And those Facebook groups are wonderful. And all I would say to you is do whatever you're doing with caution. And remember that this is the internet and that you do not know these people, right? So just go with that. Um, that's just kind of how the group changed, and it changed very quickly because it was very sad because I thought, hey, we're all making this stuff together. I'll put a Facebook group up there and we can all see what each other's making. And then when we're done, like maybe we did make 10 fabric flips and maybe we want to sell 9 of them, or we want to sell 5 of them, or whatever the case may be. I thought it would be great for you guys to be able to sell, you know, the things that you're making, a fully finished junk journal, whatever, in the group. And I think the solution for that is maybe creating a second Facebook group where you guys can, it's just a sales Facebook group where anyone can post what they have made for sale in that group. And we've talked a lot about it here. Just my family and I just talked about a lot about creating a second Facebook group so that you guys could go in the Facebook group and sell what you wanted, but it was separate from our other Facebook group where we share what we made, just photos of what we made. So I think maybe we're leaning towards doing that in the next couple of months. I'll let you know. But again, it's a whole nother Facebook group that has to be managed and it takes time and all that. And then it's a Facebook group where there's selling activity in. And then when we do a Facebook group, because we're probably going to do it, when we do a second Facebook group and let you guys sell whatever you want to sell in there, let you guys post all of your Etsy links and your YouTube links and all that kind of stuff, there will just be a huge disclaimer that says, we're not responsible for your transactions. You should know the people before you send them money. I don't know how to phrase it, but basically, I'm not going to be in the middle of it. In that other Facebook group. And that's the way that ones that allow that stuff now, that's the way they have it, where it's just like, we're not getting involved. You do whatever you do here at your own risk. And that's why I feel bad. Like I don't, you know, that's why it's not on my Facebook group now, is because that doesn't all, you know, that doesn't feel good either. So anyway, we'll probably do our own Facebook group where you guys can sell very soon. But in the meantime, there are many other ones that do it now. And so what I'm saying is you start your Etsy store. I'll have to decorate because these aren't decorated. And I don't know exactly what I want to put on them or if they have to be, but there's all kinds of little journal cards and tags in here. Maybe we just leave those undecorated. Who knows? But there's 4 for the 4 waterfall pocket things. Let's leave that for now. When you start your Etsy store, Etsy will bring you some customers, but my advice is to bring your own by going out there and promoting yourself in the places that allow you. And please hear me over again. Promote yourself in the places that allow you to promote yourself. The internet is not yours. It's not a free-for-all. In the Facebook groups, there are rules. Many Facebook groups do not allow you to promote yourself. Many Facebook groups do not allow you to sell in them or post items for sale. So please obey those rules. As a group owner, you spend a lot of your time denying posts and, you know, having to kick out members and deal with that. And that's not fun. So just make sure when you are out there on the internet that you are being good to those groups and you're, you know, following the rules. Those people that have those groups, you know, you don't make money from a Facebook group. A Facebook group doesn't have monetization really. Like you're not making money from it. It's them spending their time, donating their time to try to help other people, you know, have a good time and, you know, be inspired and, you know, sell some things that they've made. So those people are basically donating all of their time, effort, and work. And so just try to obey them. Now, I do know that it's very hard once you join a lot of Facebook groups to remember all the different rules for all the different groups, because every group has different set of rules. So when you join those Facebook groups and you're looking at those rules, just maybe make like a little cheat sheet for yourself or something that says which groups you're allowed to sell in or something like that if you're interested in that part, because The worst thing is breaking a rule and not really intending to do it, right? You know, you didn't mean to break the rule, but maybe you just weren't aware of what the rule was. So just try to make yourself a little cheat sheet. And that way, hopefully, you're posting stuff in a group that allows you to post stuff and you don't get in trouble. I did see, first of all, before I move on, does anyone have questions? I don't want to just completely ignore you all. Like, I'm trying to monitor over there, but people will take advantage of your hard work. Etsy for 8 years, closed now. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of like, so we're all crafty people, and we'll see something that somebody made and we'll be, oh, that's lovely, and I want to make it. And 99.9% of the time, that is totally fine. But there's sometimes when you see somebody having success with something and you want their success. And some people, they see, like, for instance, they see that I might be having success and they think I want that success for me, and they just go about it underhandedly. And they might see an Etsy store that's doing really well, and they might see a product that is selling like crazy and everyone loves it. And instead of doing the hard work themselves to create a product that is doing well and everyone loves, they will just literally copy what the one person is having success with without having to do all the hard work that got that person to make the item, right? And so there's a lot of, it's almost intellectual theft, property theft, but it's basically just copying for the intent to take away your sales and keep them for myself. If you go about crafting that way, you need to find something else in your life, probably God. But if you look at somebody else's success and you immediately think, I want that for myself, like I want to take theirs for myself, you need to find God. I'm not going to harp on that fact, but you need to earn your own success. You need to spend the years of 16-hour days grinding it out when you are tired, when you are beaten down, when you don't feel like carrying on, but somehow you manage to get up every day. That's what it takes to be successful in pretty much anything. Look at anyone else's success in anyone else in any industry. Those people aren't successful because they stole from other people. Those people are successful because they put in the hard work. And so there's Etsy stores that, like, somebody will make something and it's on fire and it's great. And then there's other Etsy stores that will be like, oh, well, we're making this now too, or we're selling this product now too. And it's fine to some degree because it's naturally going to happen sometimes. But if you go at it with the intent to basically copy someone else's success, you're going at it wrong. You need to build your own success. You need to make your own amazing products. You need to do whatever it is that you need to do to be successful on your own merit and not on somebody else's merit. Maria, I'm so sorry. People are like cutthroat about it too. And you'll find that a lot not in our Facebook group, because our Facebook group has amazing, kind people. I do a good job, if I can pat myself on the back, of weeding out people who are not kind in our Facebook group. If you say something that is even just like not nice, you're more than likely just going to find my Facebook group disappeared for you one day, because I don't have the time to back and forth it with you. I don't have the time to have the conversation about whether that comment was rude or it wasn't. If I think it's rude and the person who you said it to says, hey, this person said this, it really hurt my feelings, then you're just going to find my group disappeared from you, which means you're banned. I don't have time. The world is too short. The time is too short to go back and forth about it. Just be kind. But in a lot of Facebook groups, you'll find that they're very cutthroat. Like, you'll post something for sale. Like, maybe you have that whale tail punch from Stampin' Up and you have 2 of them and you don't want the second one. That's the item I see most often that this happens to. That's why I'm bringing it up. Whale tail punches from Stampin' Up. I don't know about them now, but a little while ago, they used to be, like, when you bought it from Stampin' Up, it was probably $20 or $30 originally. But because they stopped making them and everyone wants one for junk journal making or whatever, they became very scarce. And instead of your $20 or $30 you paid for it, they were selling for like $150. And in some of the Facebook groups where you were allowed to sell your stuff, they would post like an extra one, or maybe they went to a garage sale and they found one or something, and they would post it for sale. And they would post it for sale at a normal selling price. Like if you look on eBay, right? Because eBay is a great marketplace for used things. You could find one on eBay and it might sell for $150. And then they would post it in the Facebook group for like $130. And everyone in the Facebook group would be like yelling at them, saying that they were, being greedy or whatever. And it's like, they're posting it at a normal sales price, first of all. Second of all, it's not your business to comment on their price. If it's not a price for you, you just scroll on. You don't leave a rude comment. Well, in many of the Facebook groups where you're allowed to sell, that's how people are to you. If you post something for sale, they'll be like, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. Or your stuff is ugly or whatever. Like I've seen them say this. And in particular, at the beginning of the year, January 1st, a lot of groups will like post their group rules update and kind of stuff like that. One Facebook group, the owner had enough of the Facebook business. So the owner of a very large group on Facebook where you are allowed to sell your craft supplies and the things that you've made. I will not say the group name because I'm kind of going to say some bad things, but I'm not meaning it bad. What I'm saying is the Facebook group owner had been pushed to a point where she was mad, where she had enough, and she posted a very direct post to all of the members of her Facebook group. She used swear words and she said basically she's had enough. That if you are not going to be nice to other people in her Facebook group, then you're going to get banned. And while that statement is fine, I probably wouldn't have chose the language that she chose. And I think her post showed in great detail her frustration that people were not being nice to one another in her group. While I wouldn't have taken the same tactic, because I think you not being nice to your people and saying, I'm mad because you guys aren't being nice to each other, I don't think that was the right tactic for it. But it was clear she was very frustrated. So when you go out there and you join those Facebook groups, and you post things for sale, mentally prepare yourself that you might be met with some people who are not nice. And if you're met with people who are not nice, you need to understand that in the whole entire world, their opinion of you or your item does not matter. And that you just need to scroll on by it. Do not even engage with it. And I need to take my own advice many times. I am aware. Scroll on by it. Do not engage with it. Do not whatever. You can report it to a group admin if you want. But the best thing to do is just to scroll on by it and leave it alone. If the group is a good group, then normally other kind people in the group will comment on that person's rude comment and tell them where to go in probably a not nice way. But you're not saying it, so that's fine. But just mentally prepare yourself when you put yourself out there that not everyone is going to love you. Not everyone is going to love what you do. Not everyone is going to love your art. And that's okay. It's okay. It doesn't bother you. It shouldn't bother you. It shouldn't take away your self-worth. You should just scroll on by and realize that person is having a bad day. That person might be jealous. That person might have things going on in their personal life where they're just crabby and a curmudgeon. And so just scroll on by it. And I'm going to try really hard to take my own advice, but I am human just like you. And I find it very difficult sometimes. Our group is very, very, very good. Very good people. How long have I been doing lives? I've been doing lives. Well, I mean, in the beginning, it was like on and off. And then for a couple months, on and off. And then I took a year off. And then, so really only like maybe 3 years, 2.5, 3 years of actual like consistent lives. So not a huge amount of time. I had an Etsy store for about 6 or 7 years now. I need to come back to some of these projects because I'm kind of skipping over them, but I'm trying not to bore you guys too much too. If you guys have questions, I asked and then I didn't read. So if you have a question, type in your question and I'll try to answer you as quickly as I can. I won't go on any more tangents, but my point is Etsy will do some of the work to bring people, but you will need to bring people yourself. And the best way to do that is to go out there and show people a YouTube video of you making X, Y, and Z thing that you're trying to sell. People, you're allowed to put your Etsy store link in your YouTube video description box, and you're allowed to tell people, hey, my Etsy store where I'm selling these is linked in my description box. And so that's what I recommend you guys do. Is start that Etsy store, and I will go over that way more in depth and like how to choose an Etsy store name and some things to protect yourself, some thoughts about that. Like I'll go over more of that information in depth in an actual Etsy video, but I did promise we would talk about some of that stuff today, so I'm tempting to keep my word. No questions out there. Girl Scout troops and camps can, yes, they can. Schools, Girl Scout groups, senior citizen homes, nursing homes, all of these kinds of places are very happy to receive arts and crafts supplies. A lot of these places have limited budgets, in particular nursing homes. They have very limited budgets to spend money on that kind of supply. And so if you do have some extra things, or in particular time, if you have extra time to donate to going down to a nursing home and teaching the nursing home people how to make like a little greeting card mini journal or something like that. So not only donate your time, but see if you can donate, I mean, not only donate your supplies, but see if you can donate your time too. And you also might be able to donate some time with like a Girl Scout group, you know, if you're into that. But it's a good way, you know, to give back to the community. I don't want to say donate my time, but I make YouTube videos in hopes to encourage other people to get out there and craft and make things. What a difference inking that frame made. But I donate my time, if you'll allow me to say it that way, when I do like all the videos where I show you guys how to make things or whatever, right? And it's not like I'm donating my time, but you could do the same thing in real life, in person, at a nursing home or a senior citizen center or a Girl Scout troop maybe, or even a school, if they will allow that. I don't know what the regulations and stuff are like now for that kind of thing, but supplies for sure. Lots of places will take your craft supplies if you're not into whatever hobby anymore. More than likely, a lot of my stuff is going to go that route because I do have a lot that I think, you know, people would enjoy, and it brought me joy at the time, but I don't necessarily need it anymore. That's better. We need to ink the back of that. Show us how to fold the Florentine folder into a junk journal. I am going, because I was going to do one of the projects like that. Here's what I can tell you. Florentine file folders, we are making a journal kit this year out of a Florentine file folder. So I'm going to have a journal kit. It's going to be one of the monthly ones. It's going to come out and it's going to include a Florentine file folder. And then we're going to fold it and we're going to make a junk journal cover out of it. And we're going to make a signature and we're going to do all the things with the Florentine file folder. But basically you would just fold it however you want. It does have some extra flaps that are kind of fun to play with. You could fold it for a tall skinny, or you could fold it for a normal journal, a normal, like, you know, 9x6 journal. I think that one is inked. We need something back here maybe. And I wanted to I held on this page for a long time because it's kind of plain, and I think this is also kind of plain. So I think there's needs to be a little bit of decorating in this area. And I was trying to see what I had for decorations. I mean, you could just pin, we could just clip this little tag right here. That would actually be really pretty and it blends in color-wise. So I think we're going to paper clip Do I have a paper clip? I have large paper clips. I don't have a little Tim Holtz one. Or do I? Or do I? No, I do not. Maybe? No, I do not. So anyway, this is too plain for me. I could clip it over here. Let's see what's on the back side. I could clip it there. It doesn't matter, but this needs to go in here. And then we have this, which is also very plain. Now there is a card in here, but it's very plain. And this is obviously, they could write on the back of the Florentine paper, but I think we need a little decoration right there. Let me see what we can find. I mean, that's okay. It kind of brings this yellow color down here. And then you can still have all the writing space. So I think I'm just going to do that. Now I could put a little Tim Holtz person on that because it's a fairy journal. Let me see what I have for Tim Holtz people here. Because it's a fairy journal. Like that's kind of a big Tim Holtz person, but it's cute. Wondering if you're adding more digitals to Etsy. Yes, there will be digitals in Etsy. We are in the middle of making a bunch of things, and once those things are ready, I don't want to divulge exactly what's happening yet, but once those things are ready, yes, Etsy will have many more updates this year. Yeah, Tiff, I agree with you. Never cease to amaze you in both ways. Absolutely. We have really, really great people in that Facebook group. And honestly, that's all you guys. Everything is all you guys. Deborah RM. Exactly. The rose on the last page. Thank you so much. Market value. Somebody's saying market value. What are we saying market value about? You had a question further up? Yeah, like I said, anything with money, people get cutthroat about. You just gotta know that what you're doing is from your own hard work and just go forward with it and don't try not to listen to the noise. The bigger and more successful that you get, the more noise there is. So it's hard, but Ms. Julie. So please do not advertise yourself. Please do not take advantage of what's happening here to advertise for yourself. This is not the place for that. Your social media is where you advertise yourself. You don't advertise yourself on my social media. Trying to read comments. Shelly, I don't see it, or maybe I already answered it because you asked it again. If you have a question that went unanswered, just ask it again. Right, Sandy? I like that. I'm trying to be a better person, though I'm not bad to begin with. Oh my gosh. Sandy, thank you. Appreciate that. I like that. I'm trying to be a better person, though I'm not a bad one to begin with. That's pretty funny. I like that. Here's a little green one that kind of goes with this green and that yellow. Let me see if I can find a smaller person that might work with, I wonder, can we get like fairy wings and an umbrella? Not really. Not really for her, but she's super cute and I keep trying to find a place for her. And this one is the big one again. I need a smaller person. So let's make a little fairy for that page. This little boy is pretty small. This little girl's pretty small. I have tiny little Tim Holtz people. I don't know where they are, but here we go. Let's try. I might have to snip off the little antenna. I will have to snip off the little antenna, but she could go down there. She's pretty cute. Let's do that. Pretty cute. We're going to snip off the antenna. And if I had something for her to sit on, she would also be cute. Let's cut off antenna. I don't know where my other scissors are, but let's do this. Hello. Hello. Hello, Susan. We're just well, I'm mostly chatting, but I'm trying to make this journal. My brain just goes wherever it goes. I'm just along for the ride. All right, so let's ink this quick and let's put this fairy together. The butterfly is from Tim Holtz. I think he calls it Botanic Ephemera pack or something. It's the one with the flowers. And then obviously his little paper dolls. Let's put that together and put it there. And I am putting it there as opposed to on the bag. The bag would be really cute too. Do I want to put it on the bag now that I put it over there? I was thinking because the bag is already stenciled and kind of like decorative, that we would put her over here. And I think we will put her over there. Will we, or will we put her there? A or B, guys. A on the blank page. B over here. A on the blank page. Okay. Thank you for helping me. So I just put glue back there on the little butterfly and just pop your little doll on. Super simple. But that's a cute way of using butterfly wings. I'm trying to get them up as high as I can so that we can see them. So I assemble her first and then glue her to the page. She's moving. That's okay. And then we'll glue her to the page. Now I could have done like a little colored paper back there to add some interest. But I didn't. So she's just going back there all by her lonesome. And there's our little fairy. A. CC, thank you. You bought the 3850 and love it? I know, it is a good printer. Had to download the user manual. So happy that you did. I never downloaded a user manual. Maybe that would help me. But adjusting the color profile definitely helped me. All right, so there's that little sweetie. Let's see where else we need something in this journal. I know it needs lace at the bottom. I can see that we need lace in a couple more places because there's only a couple, 3 pieces of lace. We need to add more lace up there, but we'll get to that. I did that one. Oh, this one, the rose. We did it over the page there. We did that one. I looked at that. We're here. That's all good, but we have the same situation where it's kind of plain right here. Like this is okay. I like that. It's a little plain here. I think we're just going to go with it. It's okay. We have to have some place for the new owner to put their own touch on this journal, right? This one needs clipped in or glued in. I think we were going to glue it and make it a pocket right here. I think that's what we were going to do. So let's glue this in. and we'll make it a pocket. So I'm going to glue the top, and it's a little heavy, and I'm going to glue the side and the bottom. And hopefully that is enough to hold it. It's made out of Stamperia, well, it has a Stamperia cardstock tag in it, and that Stamperia cardstock is a little heavy. Just straighten it out. Nothing's worse than gluing something to your journal and having it be completely crooked. That could be a disaster. I guess we only glued back here, huh? And I don't want my tag to get stuck. So I need to make sure we're not gluing it there. So this one, I think we did make in a 365 video. It has a tag in there and it has a little tag here. The little tag here needs inked. And I don't remember what we called it, but it's just a little folded pocket with a place for a tag. And I am going to make some 365 videos. I'm just trying to fit it into my life. Well, I understand that it's frustrating for people. If you knew what my day was like every day, you would understand. But if you only watch 365 videos and you're just like, she disappeared for a month or two, you need to watch the rest of the content. There's a lot of other content that came out in that time. It's hard. People, you know, that YouTube doesn't really show everyone everything that you're doing either. So that's kind of frustrating, but that's beautiful. I love that. I might like this to fold the other way though. I do want that to fold the other way. It's just folding over the lace. So I'm going to fold it back to the back side. Maybe. It's being difficult right now. I think we just need to bone fold it. And it's hard because it's already in a fluffy journal with lace. Much better. Much, much better. I don't know what we have going on back there. We're going to find out, but I like that better than that flap folding in on top of her. And I love how this lace just clips over the edge of a pocket right here. There's just a little pocket and that lace just clips right on it. It's so cute. I need to do more like that. Okay, so then you have a little tuck that you could paper clip something, and I have a bunch of things back here. Oh, this was supposed to be glued onto this envelope. That's very cute. That, I mean, if I say so myself, sometimes I see things that I made a long time ago and I'm like, that's very cute. I like that pocket. That's a very cute pocket. So what do we have going on? So that'll go there, but what do we have going on here? We have a large tag peeking out of this little flip out. It's like journaling space here, some color palette. That's okay. But normally I would not do like back-to-back pockety things because they do have the potential to like catch each other. Can't really, I mean, I could put it there, but we're going to put it here. That's fine. Let's just do it. Am I doing a video for the printer? Yes, I am doing a video for the printer. However, by the time that that video gets done, I may have another printer to show you. I have purchased several printers, and I've been secretly doing things with them behind the scenes, and I will show you guys. Once I have everything completely set up, I will show you guys. Basically, the one, the ET3850, which I've always recommended, it's the one linked in the description box of most of the videos and stuff. That one is still my favorite, really great printer for printing digitals, for printing a lot of things. But I do have some new ones, which I will be showing and sharing with you guys. I haven't found a better every day than the ET3850. However, there is a new model of that. There's a new model of the ET3850. I don't know exactly what the numbers are called, but there's a newer, more updated model that came out within the last 6 months, I think. So it's a thick pocket. I'm trying to hold it down. So I will be showing you. I still think the ET3850 is my favorite by far for printing all the digitals and things like that. The other ones print different things. All right, so we made it through and all the pockets are in. I do need to do a little bit of zhuzhing, adding some lace, and I think we could fit probably more ephemera in here. Let me see. My glue keeps bubbling up. Let me see what other ephemera we have that needs to go in here. Because there was that one pocket right here, and we are going to stick this lady down in the front of it. Why not? She looked good in there, and we'll kind of put her to one side and poke out that rose on the other. I think that's good. Maybe not like that. I don't want her mouth cut off, so we'll leave her head up there like that. So if I'm going back through it, I'm happy with this one. This is okay. That's good. I added one to this. This pocket has stuff in it. That's all good there. It just needs, the ink needs brought in a little more on this one. Sometimes when I look at things, I'm like, if you can't see that it's inked, then chances are no one else can see that it's inked either. So I'm just going to bring the ink in a little bit. Okay. Let's glue this little piece of scrap down right there. This is all stuff that I would normally do like before the flip through. Just make sure that everything's inked, make sure everything's good, make sure nothing is sticking up like that. Ink the back side of things. A laser printer, yes. It's in that video that I'm going to do. I have purchased several printers for different purposes, and I will be showing you guys. Basically, any color laser printer is going to do the job for making junk journals. Any one of them is going to do the job. Laser printers print really beautiful prints. They're also not waterproof really, but they don't smear. The ink does not smear when you make things. When you like print something and then want to copy dye it, that's a laser printer. All right, so we're good there. I don't think I need to add little decorations to those, but you certainly could have. I want to glue lace to the bottom of this one, and I think I might put a tab at the top of this. I keep looking at it, and I'm not happy with it, so let's put a tab at the top. And I have the matching little Florentine paper, so let's do that. All right. Here we go. Make sure that there's nothing on the back of this and it's not a folio. I don't remember making this one really, so we're just going to add a tab to it. That way it comes out of the bag and it has a little more decoration up there at the top. Oh, very pretty. That was a good choice. If I can get the tab on straight, it will be. Maybe. It's sliding everywhere. Okay. All right. There's that one. And now it has a matching little tab. I like that. That's very cute. Okay. Done. This needs paper clipped. It is inked around. We added a little fairy there. Maybe this one instead of this one. Yes, that one instead of that one. We could use that other journal card somewhere else, but honestly, this little fairy, she belongs in there. Let's see what's in the back side of that. And maybe that could go. I don't want to put too much in there, but maybe that could go in there. The back side, this needs paper clipped at the top. And I do have a good size paper clip right here. So let's just do it. You decide where I'm putting the paper clip. And I'm just going to clip it on there. And then I like to put little ribbon poking out. Anytime I put a paper clip at the top, I like to put a little seam binding or ribbon poking out of there. So we'll come back and we'll do that. This one needed something. And that's probably where that really should have went instead of me taking it from the other one. But let's see what else we have. We have these little scrappy pads never made it in here. These little scrappy pads. So they're little torn scraps that are all stuck in a little notebook. Digitals and music and coffee dye. And they have a beautiful vintage wallpaper backing. And lace and goodie stuff all up there. That probably can tuck in there. It's not ideal because it sticks up, but it doesn't stick up out of the cover. I'll have to look for a better spot, but it's pretty good. Unless I take that one there and pin it here. No, I don't like it as much. It needs to go in a pocket. So we're going to stick it in here for now. It might be moved eventually. I think it needs to be moved, but this one can go back up here. So this is the stuff that like I literally take an hour for, and I'm apologizing that you guys are having to sit here. But this is the stuff where you got to figure out where all your ephemera looks best. How are you guys doing out there? Let me see what else we have for this pocket. Now you could have put mushrooms with fairies. That would be okay, right? It's all good. Let's see what else we have for back there. These are super cute, and I keep trying to find homes for them. There's a little tag charm. There's an over the corner. There's a library card pocket. Another notepad. More pockets. Some blank pieces. Some clusters. Okay. In the front of the unfinished ephemera box, so not in this one, but in the front of this one, there was some fairy things. Let's look and see what's fairy in here. Let's look and see in this one. Working on your second Christmas journal? That's awesome. That's awesome. Amy's watching and listening. Susan's all about the charms. The charms. Let's see. I think we already used that card, but we didn't use this one. That one might be good back there. It's just not the right color. Needs something with blue in it. A larger journal card with blue. Actually, maybe, yes, that one. Okay, so we found something for behind here. It's got the beautiful greens and pinks and that kind of stuff. So we're going to stick that one back there. And I think it's already inked. So we're good to go with that. This one also has a similar journal card. Then we have this. There's something in here. Whatever's in here is pretty small. I thought about putting that right there on the front. I like it. It's birds and birds. If we put that on the front, can we slide this in there? I mean, it's really hard to slide something that has, you know, fabric-y stuff and scraps of paper in a bag. But that looks pretty. What do you guys vote for? I already know what I'm doing, but what do you guys vote for? So how many of you guys did the fairy journal with me and have completed your fairy journal? How many did fairy journal with me? We're going to have this one done. So if somebody's on the hunt to purchase a fairy journal, the fairy journals will be done first because they're ready. I don't want to add a pocket or anything. I just want to add stability to this bag by gluing my journal card to the front of it. So now my journal card became decoration instead of ephemera. Totally fine. There's plenty of ephemera in here. And I'm going to stick that kind of straight. Kind of straight, she says. Right there. And so by doing this, it adds a couple of things. It adds a lot of strength and durability to that paper bag. That is what I stenciled back there. I didn't get enough glue right there, apparently. Just making sure I'm completely glued down. And now my lovely little scrappy tag with lacy top. I don't know why those were in that box because they needed to be in this journal. How many did fairy journal? Oh my gosh, Wanda, there's a video on my channel where I flip through all of my favorite botanical books. There's a video on the 365 series where I flip through like 20 different books and I show you like what they look like inside and I talk about what's my favorite. Yes. And I think in that video description box, there's links as well. So I'm going to pop that over the, nope, you can't pop it over the top. It's got to be just like that. So there's that one. Now it looks so plain back here from there. Yeah, it does. Maybe this should have went back there, but this is the smooth one. So I didn't do it that way. Felt that, Wanda? It looks like... Amy says she's doing the fairy, but it's never going to be done. Oh my gosh. Lots of other people made it with me. Cece's also working on a fairy type journal. Jody's got 6 unfinished projects. One of them is a fairy journal. Susan E says she completed it. That's awesome. Aw. The fairy journal is super cute. If I say so, like if you guys will let me, but sometimes I make them and I really like them and I really do think about keeping them, but I don't. There's a reason why I don't. And the reason is simply because if I started keeping them, I would have to keep one from every series. And you could see where, you know, that could get a person into trouble really quick. So I'm going to stick this because it kind of goes with the blues over there back here for my journal card. So there's that. I don't think it's inked around. It is not. So what this is paper napkin that I decoupaged onto onto something. Oh no, this is paper napkin paper. So what I did is I took paper napkins, like with the flowers back here, and I sprayed my cardstock with permanent adhesive spray, an aerosol kind of spray can, like a paint can. And you spray your adhesive and then you put your cardstock down on your napkin, and it makes beautiful patterned cardstock for you to use making ephemera. So it's beautiful. I'm gonna vintage it up a little bit, but it makes your napkins, your favorite napkins, into cardstock. So there's a journal card for that one. I like that. It's a little sunny spot. This one really could use something, and I'm making it super fat. I'm just adding extra ephemera. Apparently I have the extra ephemera, so we might as well add some of it. Looking for something that matches color-wise to this page. Can we get her back there? No, I like that one in the front. That's okay. We could put her back there. I mean, she's a little pastel for that page, but I like her. Nothing wrong with her. So maybe we'll put her there. So now that I'm finishing these journals, we're going to have journal flip through. They'll be offered for sale. You guys can usually text message me to purchase them. But I'll do a nice flip through video where I'll show them. So we're going to have 3 fairy ones available. 3 botanical, 3 French country, and 3 Christmas. There's that. Maybe ink around the back quick. I'm out of ink. So we're going to make a couple different styles of journal kits this year. One of them is going to be the flip-flop journal. We will have at least one actual tall skinny journal kit where it's designed to be tall skinny. It's not an option of, like, it's going to be a tall skinny. So we have tall skinnies and we have flip-flops. Of course, we'll have quilty fabric covers, my favorite kind of covers. We'll have some good different things. I think this just needs inked a little more, and then I'll be happier with it. Just needs a little grunge. And don't be afraid to ink the edges of your fabric either. Fabric can be inked just like paper around the edge. Makes it look a little vintage, realistic. There we go. Better. I don't like covering up their faces, but we don't have an option for that one. So there's that one now. The pocket looks more stuffed and intentional instead of kind of bare. There's plenty of things back here. This one, because I made the journal so fat, it is a little hard to get out. I don't know if a tab would help it or hurt it, but it does need inked, so we're going to ink it. I want to make these botanical, fairy, lovely, flowery things again. I'm so out of Christmassy, winter, dark colors. Do you guys ever have that happen mentally where you are just ready to move on from winter? Oh my gosh, I was going to tell you a story about what happened over Christmas break. So, I was sick over Thanksgiving. We did the big super sale before Christmas. Then we took the week, to ship. And I was amazed. Like, my team, which consists of 2 people and myself, my team did an amazing job. We worked so hard during the super sale every day to keep things sorted into your bins and keep spreadsheets good and all that kind of stuff. And we had like just a couple little tiny hiccups that affected like less than 5 people. But other than that, like, we did great. The team did great. And I was very impressed with that. But so we took the week to ship, and that was the week the week before, no, the week of Christmas. I don't know, the week before Christmas probably. And then the week of Christmas, my daughter was going to visit her in-laws for Christmas this year. And so she went there, and we did Christmas early on the Sunday before Christmas because she needed to travel and all of that. So for Christmas, I literally got to wake up in the morning, have my coffee, just relax. And then I watched a Christmas movie, and then I took a nap, and then I watched another Christmas movie. I had Christmas dinner that we had picked up. I didn't want to cook on Christmas because I had cooked on Sunday. So we picked up some food that I could just, warm up, whatever. So I had Christmas dinner, watched a third movie. I had 3 Christmas movies and a nap on Christmas Day. It was lovely. And then my daughter, came home from our trip and all that kind of stuff. My daughter bought a house, and so they just moved in actually yesterday. And so it was really, really busy, even though we weren't technically working because, had a lot of family things going on. But what ended up happening was, I don't know if this is actually done. I mean, I want to add some lace back here. See how there's like one piece here, one piece there. There's like 3 pieces. We need 3 more pieces to make this a lot more fluffy and lacy. And we need to add a couple more pieces of lace to the page edges. And then it's going to need a closure. And I don't know what kind of closure we're going to put on here. I could put eyelets in the quilt, or I could just tie seam binding around it. I'm not sure on a closure just yet. It keeps getting fuzz stuck to it. But I think this one is pretty much done on the inside. I'm going to add some clusters and things like that. Let's try to add some clusters while I'm telling you my story. A Quiet Christmas was great. But then my daughter bought the new house, she bought the new house, and they had to, go through the closing and all that kind of stuff. But she bought a new house, and they bought it very far away from me, like an hour and a half away from me. And I was like, I just look at my grandson who's 5 months old now. And I'm like, I want to be closer to him. I don't want to be so far away because, if I'm close, then I can pop over and see them a lot more. And, my daughter and I can do more things together. And so I started to think about moving sooner than what I was originally planning, because I knew this house was too small, and I was planning on moving next year. But because she bought a house, and this is kind of how it happens for some families, right? She bought a house, and it was so far away, and I was thinking, I would really like to be closer. And so then I thought about, buying a house, and I started to look into it, and then I got the real estate agent involved, and we started looking at what's available and all that kind of stuff. And basically it spiraled pretty quickly to, you're gonna move. You're not gonna move in a year, you're gonna move very soon. And so I thought there were clusters in here somewhere. That's what I'm looking for. I thought I made a pile of clusters. Not in this one. This one has a lot of neutral ephemera. So not that pile. I'm running out of spaces to put piles. So basically we started looking for houses, and I know houses are expensive all over the country, but I was not prepared for how much houses cost, actually. And it made me very nervous. This is French country ephemera, I think. It's backwards in here, which I don't know why it's backwards, but it is backwards. Sorry if you can see my head. You probably can. And I'm trying to find something. I'm so sorry. Let me look at it this way. I had a pile of clusters. A pile of... Not those. I mean, these are fabric clusters, and we can definitely use some of those. Here's a little clip-in dangle thing. I don't think it's right for the fairy journal, but they're there. Where in the world were all those paper clusters? I know you guys probably remember. I don't remember where they were, but I thought they were in here somewhere. There's some larger ones right here. These are the ones I picked for the French Country Journal. So no, they're not in there, but let's glue these ones in. So then we went to look at houses, and I was like just blown away by price, basically. I mean, I knew what they kind of were, but so anyway, I was upset about that. And then I was thinking about taking the business part and moving it out of the house into a business location and then having a smaller house. And so like we spent a week going back and forth and looking at properties. And then I found a home that I really, really loved. And I really loved the house and wanted to, you know, look at purchasing it. We would have to do some construction for what exactly I wanted. And so I looked into that, and the lot for this house is like the very last house on a road, and it's down a hill. And I was looking at the lot and I was like, you know, how does that work when it rains? Because here's a mountain. The road goes down from the mountain. There's a bunch of houses on the road. And then my house would be the very last house on that road. And that road slopes down and the mountain slopes down. And the house is kind of down under the road, like lower than the road. And I kept looking at it and I'm like, this looks like it's gonna flood. Like it looks like it's gonna flood. It doesn't look like a very safe way to have the road graded and all that kind of stuff. And so I was a little concerned that, you know, that one might have some water issues. And sure enough, we got some rain. And I went to look at it, and sure enough, that one was pretty much flooded and muddy everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, if we got an actual monsoon storm like Arizona, we get these basically torrential downflows of water in the summer months for monsoon. And I don't think that house is a good choice. So we let that house go. And so we've been just looking for houses and doing all that kind of stuff, preparing things to move. Packages came in every single day when they were shipping. And there's just a ton of stuff that needs opened. There's some other things that happened. Yeah, you moved all the way across the country to with your daughter and son's families. Yeah, see, and I just don't think I want to be that far away, but my father lives out here, so life just does change quickly. I was not prepared for that. You traveled 500 miles to spend Christmas with your daughter and your family. Aw, see, that was lovely. I'm glad that you got that time with them. Yeah. So what did you guys do for Christmas? What did you guys do? Did you visit family or did you just hang out? Like, I think I want to do something bigger and more decorative here. So I'm going to leave that spot. But we're looking for places to add these little lacy clusters. Like, you could almost do a small one if I had a tiny. Almost do a small one right there. What do you guys think about that? Just a small little cluster there. I like it. I'm going to do it. Let's do it. Why not? I know. That's what I was worried about. I was like, I'm not the kind of person that can handle moisture. So, like we're going to have a lot of paper stored, and craft supplies and stuff. Like we can't be having floods. So yeah, that one was out, but it was the perfect house, which was really sad and hard to let go. It's okay. We'll find another one. But so we're actively looking. We have not found one yet. When we do, we'll be able to move fairly quickly and then deal with this one later. So that'll be nice because we don't have to be like normally you would have to sell your first house before you could move into your second, right? And we're going to do something a little bit different. And so that allows us some flexibility of like moving times, all that kind of stuff. I'm over the age of moving my stuff myself, like it's just physically too painful. This page is very plain, and I think we need to do something like clip in a piece of ephemera or something there, because it's very plain. I mean, it's okay. It's just very plain. This one could use like a little paper collage right there. I mean, if it was my journal, I'd be all decorating everything. But I do need to leave the owner of this journal some places to play with her own things. I don't know how many of these I can put in there. It's got the little yellow ribbons with the little yellow and purple flowers or pink flowers right there. That might be a good option for that one. Let me see what else I have. I like that one better. That one is not decorative enough. And that one has blue. If we wanted to play off the blue stripes. I think that one's good, actually. Now, I did do one right there, so before I glue this one on, I'm going to make sure that there's nothing in the back, which there should be the same page. Probably overkill. I just want to make sure that I evenly space my little embellishments. So, like, there's lots of options. And I just want to make sure I'm not putting them all in the front of the journal and then leaving the back plain. So let's put this here. Let's put that there. You have to live close to your son. An hour and a half away from your son and his family. That's too far. Yeah, that's what I am, an hour and a half. Let's see what you guys said. Never done it with a quilt piece. Oh my gosh. Quilt cover journals are amazing. We will have several probably this year. I know there's 2 for sure because I already have the quilts for them. But quilt covers are just that squishy, yummy, good feeling, you know. So they're fun. Plus it's like a pre-made cover, really. You don't have to do a lot. So there's one cluster back there and one cluster in the front. I just found a cluster that probably would have been better for right there. But we put that one there, so it's okay. The other journals. Let me put these clusters back away. I don't like to put too much of the same thing in one journal because then it looks like, you know, you just took a pile and you just put it everywhere, right? So there's those. I did have some paper clusters somewhere that I still would like to find. And I'm missing a lot of your chatting. Let me go back and scroll and see where we're at with chat. What is the theme for the next journal kit? You'll find out on Tuesday. I don't usually tell you guys ahead of time. I'm scrolling back. I'm sorry. I'm missing a lot. Parents came to spend Christmas with us. First time in 36 years. That's super sweet, Christine. Super sweet. Hello, Betty. Yeah, downhill at the bottom. I don't know. It was not good. Christmas Eve with your kids and grands at your daughter and hubby's house. That sounds fun. I'm missing a lot. Yes, the working it out in your head does take quite a bit, doesn't it? It always takes a lot longer than I think it's going to take. So I need paper. The last thing I want for this journal, some lace on the side like we talked about. Obviously, we'll probably do something with that. Sometimes I leave them plain, but we just need a little bit more lace and a little paper clustery. Were they in this one? Somewhere we had a lot of paper clusters. I mean, even this in a fairy journal. This is a laminated piece with just flowers in it. And my idea was that it could go on a page as like a tuck. Like it could go right here. I could sew around 3 sides of it just to add a little more embellishing. And this could be a pocket. So laminate your dried flowers. There's videos on that too. But can this go in here? I thought we had like a pretty plain page somewhere. It could have went there for a pocket. Anyway, I just happened to stumble across that. Those could go in there. And there's even like this one. Dried flowers. Cute. That one could go in there. I have another pocket. Are we missing pockets? I didn't count how many pockets. And these are some flowers. I don't know what those are for, but there's some flowers right there. Then there's botanical things. Yeah, this is the botanical box. Is this the one with the clusters? I'm looking for paper clusters. Paper clusters. I say it as if calling them out will help me find them. It apparently doesn't work that way. No, this is all botanical stuff. Well, I only have one other bin to look for or look through. And it's this one. Looking for clusters. I also have a Ziploc baggie of paper clusters somewhere. They're right here. They're right where you think that they would be in your fairy journal box. You just missed them. You just missed them like a ding dong. So these were little scrap clusters. There's one more that I'm trying to dig out. Look how tiny that one is. Little scrap clusters that we made in a 365 video. I twisted myself in not a good way for my back. Okay. Had 8 Christmas Day and 6 spending 2 to 3 days. Bedlam. Oh my gosh. It's quiet now. My mother collected a whole room of vintage jewelry, and I have it in the garage. I keep meaning to get it out and do stuff with it, but eventually, yeah, the new journal kit comes out on Tuesday, and I'll show it to you, and you guys can purchase it or subscribe or whatever then. All right, so the little clusters are what I'm going to use to decorate a couple places where there just needs to be something extra. There just needs to be something more. And you can see these were made, these were actually made from scraps from this journal. And so they will go in beautifully. And these were like 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and you've got a bunch of them. So let's just flip through here one more time. And we're going to find some places that, this is kind of like the zhuzhing part, right? You're going to find some places that are a little plain. Honestly, this is a little plain, and I think I will make a nice pocket for right there. But maybe not. We'll see. I'm looking for places that visually need a little more interest. Like that's got interest. This could use a little help. And so if we're looking at this area, It's nice because we already have pink on the page, right? We already have pink in here. And so I could come in and add a little cluster right here. Don't necessarily want to cover up all the postage stamps. I could also add a cluster over here, which balances out the page. So while I would be covering up some, you know, journaling space a little bit right there, I think that's okay. I think it's acceptable. And I would like to just Tim Holtz staple this in here. Of course, I don't have a Tim Holtz stapler, but not in this room. But I would like to just staple that little cluster right there. And it balances the pink. We've got the same color palette. We've got the whitish color here and the whitish color text. So I think it just balances it nicely. And instead of having just, you did nothing with this whole entire spread, right? Because if I sell this journal, someone's going to be like, you did nothing here. Well, if it put that there, at least you did something, right? At least they know you looked at this, right? So I'm going to staple that right there with the Tim Holtz stapler. Now we should find one place in the back to put one of these also so that it is balanced. And I keep looking at this and wishing there was something more here. There is a lot going on though, so I'm going to leave that. I also looked at this right here and kind of wanted to do something. Probably not with a cluster, but with writing space. I mean, do we want a cluster right there? It's just a lot right there. It's not bad. It's just a whole lot. It's a whole lot for my eyeballs. I think that's good. And it decorates that envelope. So I'm not going to look any further. Because see, like, I could literally put these anywhere and it would make it beautiful. But I am going to put that one there, I think. Unless I put this one there. Let me look at this journal card again and see which colors. Because I think it's this one. You can't pinch it. Yes, it's this one. See the colors? So we're going to stick this one. That is a little tough because the journal is so fat. We're going to stick this one right here. And this one I can't staple on, so I've got to glue it. But if you have pre-made things, how fun. You just get to put them down. You don't have to spend the hour making them. It's all fun. So there's that. Now we don't have a plain white envelope. That makes my heart happy. That one's good. That's good. This one is the same thing as the front one. I could just stick another cluster there, but if I do, it's kind of like a couple of, that would be like the max clusters I could use in this journal of these exact clusters. You could put a different cluster there. But again, I would be covering up journal space. I don't know if I will do it, but it does look awfully nice there. So it's an option. I'll leave it there, but it's an option. Let's just see if there's anything else that's like super ultra plain, has to have something basically ugly. We put one there, so I wouldn't come in and put another one there anyway. This right here, but we have a whole lot going on there. So I think we're good. I don't think we need to add it here. I think we're just going to leave it. Because it's like cluster overload and they're all the same. But we're getting thick and chunky. Like we're getting good and thick and chunky and weighty. And weighty. So I think we're good with these clusters. However, I will save them. And we will use them in other journals. And all they are scraps from this kind of project. I love my little baby one though. It's like this tiny little tiny little thing. And I do have this guy. All right, well, let's pop those in the front of there so I don't lose them. What else should we do to this, guys? I have lace, and that's really about it. What else do I normally stick in here? I usually put some old ephemera in the pockets. We didn't really put any old ephemera in here. There's a lot of handmade ephemera, but we didn't really put like old French postcards. Like these pockets right here, they could use an old French postcard in there. We could fold up some checks and some receipts and things and stick them in. But honestly, this is a really full one. A really full one. And it has a lot of flip outs. A lot. I think we're good. Because it's getting too chunky. Anyway, we have 2 more of this exact thing. Now, the other 2 are nowhere near done like this. They don't have their pockets glued in, so we would need to pull out pockets and stick them in and all that kind of stuff. So I think this one is basically finished other than lace and possibly me putting closure, pockets, whatever. Let's look at the next one. The next one doesn't have its cover decor. So this is exactly, the process, right? If you want to backtrack from here, This one has the quilted journal cover and it has a signature, but it doesn't have anything else. We didn't stencil on the bag yet. It's just a naked journal just like this. And if I wanted to, I could just put a pile of ephemera together and just sell it just like this. And then you guys could complete it on your own. But because I already made all the ephemera, I'm just going to stick it in and we're going to finish these. But this is a really great journal. The quilt cover kind. They lay flat. They're nice. They feel great in the hand. I think it was going to make a fairy journal. Still not unpacked. Uh-oh. You're guessing a pink journal kit next? Well, that's not what it is, but that's a good guess. There is a pink journal coming. So this is the blank basic signature. I do love a signature sewn into a cover. So you could take the first journal that I made and you could look through page by page and see what I did and then kind of do the same thing here. So in the beginning is the same or basically similar. We could add some lace down that side, but I'm going to add the lace all at the same time because we already know this one needs more lace. Then we open up the next page and we need to do some kind of element there. I don't have the same element, but we need to do something there. So that is what we need to do. We need to start working right there. I can't get them both on camera and it's really irritating me, as you can tell. That one needs to go that way. And you can barely, yeah, you can't see them. That's okay. I'll stand her up over there and we'll work on this one. Getting many ideas, good. You're going to love whatever I choose. I love what I've chosen so far, so I'm excited for it. It's the first time I've ever made this theme of journal, but I will tell you this theme again. If you don't love my way I'm doing them, there is so many supplies in this kit that you can take and make a bunch of different ways. It is a very nice theme that you all will love, and you can take it 2 different directions very easy. You picked up lace and velvet and you thought you would get a chance. Yeah, sometimes life happens and that's okay. We need to give ourselves permission. It's okay. Like, life gets in the way. It's okay. Well, on Tuesday, all will be revealed. You haven't finished the journals yet? Even if we just get it to this point, like I said, this is a journal. It doesn't have to be decorated. So even if you just get your kit and you just get it to the point where it's a cover, it's a not decorated cover, but it's a cover and a signature, at this point, you could decide that you wanted to sell this as an unfinished journal. This is called a naked journal. I don't really like that term for it, but that's what they're calling it. They're calling it a naked journal because it doesn't have pockets and tags and things in it yet. You know, it's just basically a signature, with a cover. Now, a naked journal for some people is just coffee dyed paper sewn into a cover. That can also be a naked journal, but for me, a naked journal has all of the inclusions and the little book pages and the old stuff and whatever in it. But yeah, you could sell it just like this. You could say, okay, I got the kit. I made this much of it. I ran out of time. I'm going to put this in Etsy and I'm going to sell it as a naked journal, and I'm going to get the next kit and I'm going to hopefully finish that one. But if I don't finish that one, you always can sell naked journals. You always can sell journals that have some pockets and tags, but maybe you didn't quite get 6 in the front and 6 in the back. Maybe you have 3 in the front and 2 in the back. You can still sell that journal. Your listing should say, and let's talk about that too for a minute. Your Etsy listing should say what the journal is, right? If it has a specific theme, you could say what the cover was if you wanted to, but your listing should have very specific details in it if you're trying to sell a journal. And I look at listings sometimes in Etsy and I'm like, but what size is it? But how many pages does it have? But how many pockets does it have? How many pieces of handmade ephemera does it have? Like, those details are important. And you can choose to not include some of those details if you don't want them in your listing. But I think the listings that are very specific and you tell your buyer, this is a 9x6. This is literally what I would kind of say. This is a 9x6 quilt cover journal with a sewn in single signature. And it would have however many pages, 60 pages, or I don't know, whatever pages it has, right? I didn't count them. But you would say how many pages it had. If it had pockets, you would count how many pockets and you would say how many pockets. You could say how many tucks. You could say how many, what, you could get very detailed if you wanted to. If you want to leave out the number of pockets and the number of handmade pieces of ephemera, I will say this. Choosing to leave out how many pockets and how many tags and pieces of ephemera can help you if you didn't make that many pieces of ephemera and pockets. But you also will have buyers who will ask you, and I think it's good to be upfront and tell them it has this many pockets, it has this many pieces of handmade ephemera. I think it's better to be upfront and list all the details. A, you'll get asked less questions, and B, people will see how much time it took to make 12 pockets and 24 pieces of ephemera, or whatever the case is, right? And people who buy journals, they know that that stuff takes a lot of time, a lot of love, and a lot of supplies. And so generally listing, if it has 12 pockets and it has 24 pieces of ephemera, buyers will know that, okay, this is a very full journal. It has a lot of ephemera. This is what I'm looking for. And the price of this journal is because it has so much ephemera in it, right? Pricing journals is very tricky. When you're pricing a journal to put into Etsy, a naked journal, they can sell for a pretty good range, but a fully decorated journal that has handmade ephemera in it. And so let's talk about ephemera for just one quick second. Ephemera that is handmade means you made the base, you put the focal point on, you decorated the ephemera, you might have sewn around it, you've inked around it, whatever you've done, right? But handmade ephemera, like the kind I make here, is one category. There is another category of ephemera that is just printed digital tags and pockets that people cut out and ink around, and that's their pocket, and that's their tag. They don't really do a lot of embellishing or no embellishing at all. And so when you're looking at journals for sale, you might look at something and it might look like it's collaged. You might look at a tag and it might look like it's all handmade and collaged, but in reality, it can be a printable tag. And you might not know it's a printable tag. You might think that the person did all the background collage and glued on a focal point and whatever. But a lot of times in Etsy, you'll find sellers who just use the digitals. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But what I am saying is when you list a journal that you've handmade ephemera, make sure that you say that you have handmade each and every piece of ephemera, or, you've handmade 12 pockets or whatever it is. Make sure that you specify you handmade them from scratch, that you've done all the collaging is real. It is not printed digital collaging. Make sure you point out the fact that, you've added lace and you've added focal points, and, describe all my ephemera sewn around or inked, or it's all backed with coffee dyed paper for you to journal on. Those things are important because a lot of people make journals and they make them very quickly. They'll buy a digital kit, it'll have tags, it'll have pockets, they cut them out, they glue them in, they're done. And in reality, if I wanted to make that kind of journal, I could probably make 20 of them or more in a day. But those journals are great for people who want that kind of journal. Like, again, there's nothing wrong with it necessarily, but you can't price a journal that has that kind of ephemera for the same price that you would price a journal that has all handmade ephemera. Handmade ephemera is very time consuming to make. And I don't even know if I have like printed tags or something to show you. I was trying to look if I had like somebody's printed tags or something. I don't really have any of that. But anyway, you guys know the kind I'm talking about. If you buy that kind of ephemera and you embellish it and whatever, and you're happy, great. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. What I am saying is pricing is different, because making a piece of ephemera, like you could spend 2 hours making one pocket. We all know that's the case. You literally could spend 2 hours making a pocket. You could spend 5 hours maybe making a pocket. Like sometimes ephemera takes a long time and it involves many processes and layers and things like that. So just be detailed in your listing and explain to the buyer why your journal is special, and explain the processes that you went through to make the journal. Like, I sewed around the cover and I sewed in 3 signatures, and it has, heavily decorated with lace or bling or whatever it is that you're doing, right? But if you explain it to the buyer is more able to understand, because pictures, like I said, you could look at a tag, and I keep trying to find one. You could look at a tag like these right here. This is a digital printable tag of mine. And some people, they would just print out the tag and they would put it in a pocket. And that's one way of making a journal. But if you just add a couple little extra things, it's a little bit different, right? But sometimes you'll have the printed digital tag and it will look like it's all collaged in the background, and it will look like you put a focal point, and it will look like you did all that work. So sometimes buyers think that what you're showing them is super easy and simple, and you just need to explain to them that it's not simple and easy. It took a lot of time, basically. So that they can understand the price. And once they understand how much work you put into it, I think your journal will have a better chance of selling. Be more detailed. I don't mind the kits that come with all the things. I just pick and choose what I want to use from those kits that come with all the things. Normally, I don't just take a pocket and glue in a pocket. I mean, it's okay to have some of that kind of ephemera, I think. Because otherwise a journal might take you a year to make, right? So it's okay to use some of that stuff. But my advice to you would be, if you are using like a printed tag or a printed pocket, to do a little bit of embellishing just to kind of make it your own. Again, it's okay to have some, if you need to fill in or whatever, but just price your journal accordingly, because handmade pieces are priced differently than printed pieces. And so pricing for journals, I get asked this a lot of times. Pricing for a journal depends on a lot of different factors. And if we're looking at a fully decorated, fully finished journal, if we're looking at one that's fully decorated and fully finished and it's full of ephemera, like you just saw how much, I mean, this stuff takes time. Like, where's that pocket at? I mean, this pocket took a while. Then I made two pieces of, two tags, and that also took time. Like on this one little thing right here, it's a lot of time. So a whole journal full of that, it does take a lot of time, basically, is my whole point with it. And so you're never going, so some people try to approach pricing a journal like they were paying themselves an hourly wage. I will tell you that will never work out in your favor. You can say, I'm going to pay myself $10 an hour to make this journal. This journal would cost thousands of dollars because it took too long, right? Like, I mean, I'm not saying it's really thousands, but what I'm saying is if you say that you're going to price your work on an hourly wage, it doesn't work out that way for 99% of crafters who make things. It's better to look at it as, what are these type of journals selling for in Etsy? What are other people selling this kind of a journal, for? And if you look in Etsy and you look for fully decorated or heavily decorated journals, you'll see what they're selling for. And what I would say is the best practice is to find journals that are listed for sale that are a similar style to yours, that have a similar amount of embellishing and pockets and things like that, and look and see what those journals, what people are asking for them. And the other factor, so not only, apples to apples, because you're comparing your journal that you made to a journal that someone else made, so that's apples to apples. But the thing that is apples to oranges is that person's following. If the creator who made a journal has a decent following, her journal is going to be more valuable and it is going to be at a higher price. That is the way that all of the creators pretty much work. I think there's a couple factors going on in that pricing, but one of those factors is they're able to get paid a little bit more higher wage because they're putting out content, they're putting out YouTube videos, they're showing you how to, they're doing all these other work things, right? So that's work that they're doing, and they're doing that work and putting out free content on YouTube and, free how-tos and free whatever. And one way that kind of transpires to, being paid for your work is when you make a journal, you're now able to ask $2 per hour instead of $1 per hour of labor or something like that, right? So when you're comparing your journal to somebody else's journal, also look to see how much of a following that other artist has. And if you're a brand new junk journal maker and you're a brand new Etsy store, I would encourage you to price your journal what you see other people's journals priced at. But if it doesn't sell for a little while, maybe consider doing the flip through video on YouTube. I would encourage you to do that first. Do the flip through video on YouTube, promote your journal, see if you can post pictures of it in some of the Facebook groups that allow you to post pictures and sell your work and stuff like that. And probably my best advice is to start trying to build up a little bit of your own social media so that when you do have a fully finished journal, you can do a flip through and show them. And more than likely, once you build a following, the journal will sell before you need to put it into Etsy. Or you can put it into Etsy and have them purchase it there too. It works both ways. But a different creator will price her journal differently. And like, think about a Rachel Roxy Creations journal price. Think about a Gail Augustinelli journal price. I'm not at their level, so my journals are not priced like that. Occasionally there's one where, I put tons and tons of time or expensive materials in it, and it might be priced, something closer to Gail's, but I generally try to just sell them at market value. Not because you'll never get paid what it actually took you to make them. That's just the creator's life, right? You're never going to get paid a normal hourly wage to make things like this. I mean, I'm not going to say never, but most people, they don't get paid $20 an hour to make a journal. That's just not the way it works out for most people. Do I collect? I don't. I don't buy journals, and I don't keep my own. And the reason is I think other people's journals are fabulous. There's many artists that I love their work, and I'm like in awe of their work. And I would love to own one of their journals, but the thing is what would I do with it? Because I'm not a journaler. Like I don't have time, and I just don't do that side of it. For me, the love of it is the making of it and assembling it and buying supplies for it, obviously. But if I started buying other people's journals, I could tell you right now, there's 12 people probably or more that I would buy a journal from. The problem is what would I do with it? It would sit on a shelf. And then at some point, like I would like to keep one of all of my journals that I make. I can tell you at the end of it, I love them and I want to keep one. I can't. A, you guys want them. B, what would I do with it? There would just be shelves and shelves of journals. So while I will keep some eventually, if it has like a special meaning for me, I need to give my daughter one. I think it would be nice to have a couple just on display, just, like I could lay one on the coffee table, whatever. I think it would be nice to have a couple, but I can't ever be that person that just collects journals. For me, I don't have the space to do that. So I just can't. Maybe eventually, but I just don't have space for it right now. Every shelf I have is full of stuff, French paper and things, books and things. No, most people don't realize how long it takes to make stuff. And also, calling it a junk journals are really not this. Junk journals are really made from junk mail, from trash, from receipts, from paper packaging, from whatever packaging, spaghetti boxes, whatever, right? That's a true junk journal. So when they say a true junk journal, it's a journal that is made from truly all recycled things. Not something that you bought to put in a junk journal, but things that you found organically that are true. I'm going to throw this away, or this is in the trash and I took it out, kind of a junk journal. What we make are somewhere in between an art journal, mixed media, junk journal, scrapbook. You could throw a lot of words in there, but that's kind of what we make, right? And some of you guys do make true junk journals, and sometimes, I will make one occasionally just for the fun of making one literally out of trash. But this is not really a junk journal. And when we call it a junk journal, and when people ask, what do you do? Or, what is, what do you do for your free time or in your spare time? And you say, I make junk journals. They think that they're junk. So calling them junk journals kind of takes away from what people think they're worth. And so while it's not technically an art journal, while it's not technically a junk journal, it's somewhere in between. It definitely qualifies as mixed media because we're mixing fabric and lace and quilts and paper and cardstock, and you might do some painting in here or stenciling or whatever pastes you used. You could certainly say that this is a form of mixed media art. I think it is a form of mixed media art, but it's really hard to explain to family and friends what a junk journal is. And I started calling them journals instead of junk journals because junk implies trash, implies low value, and handmade journal sounds a little bit different, which is really what it is, a handmade journal. So watch your wording, do your own research, and decide what you want to call it. But it is hard to explain to family and friends what you do. It's definitely hard. You purchased a few so you could see and touch how yes. And a lot of people do that. And for people who are just beginning, it is a good way to understand how a junk journal is assembled. So what she's saying is she bought a couple of other artists' junk journals just to look at them, see how they were constructed, touch and feel how they were put together. Some people are better visual learners, and they need to hold the thing in their hand and touch it. And a lot of people buy the journals to get ideas. They could take, the journal, and they could use it as an idea journal where, okay, she made this pocket, so I can make this pocket. It's a good thing to do. A lot of people do that. A lot of people buy journals, and just want to see how they were made. And that's totally fine, totally great. And then they just collect them from there. But yeah, that's a good thing. Lynn says she has little bags and boxes all over her craft room with different ideas of journals she wants to make and keep piling more stuff into them. That's kind of how my room was supposed to be across the hall. Is I had the 12 by 12 iris scrapbook cases, and I used to put all of the certain themed things in there. Like if I was going to make a French country journal, I would have one box and I would put all the French country things that I wanted to use in that box. And if I wanted to make like a fairy journal, I'd have a second box and I'd put all that stuff in there. And that's a great way to do it. Except I will caution you, the reason why I stopped doing it is because there are things that could go in a fairy journal and it could go in a farm journal, right? Or they could go in a French journal, or it could go in a French Christmas journal. And so sometimes while it's in the box, you can't see it, you can't use it, but it really could be used in a different journal. So you do what works for you. But the boxes is a good idea until you realize, hey, where did that go that I wanted? That could go in this journal. Ziploc bags is another good idea. Let's see what else. Altered books. Yep. If I actually made altered books, yes, I could call them that. Yeah, I do use old things, but it's not technically made from all recycled materials. I buy things specifically to make it, so it doesn't technically qualify for a true junk journal. Yeah, Sandy, I think that's kind of one of the fears, I think, when you spend, because some journals are like $600. So if you spend $600 on a maker's journal, you want to be able to drool over it. And my fear would be if I spent $600 and then was like, oh, I could make it myself. I think $600 is out of my price range for a journal. It has to be super big and super special. Betty, that's so cute. So cute. Sorting by colors is definitely a good option too. Yeah. So a lot of different things to think and talk about. We're at the 3-hour mark. I'm going to switch the camera back around. Thank you for hanging out with me a little bit today. It really was just more chatting about different things and Etsy and whatever. Before I let you guys go, I need to make myself a place over here. This is a disaster every time I have to do craft with me in here. Let me move this monitor back. There we go. I feel like it's too far over. I'm going to switch the camera. Yeah, $600 is a lot, but that is not the most expensive journal that I have actually seen sell. I'll tell you guys about the journal that I've seen be sold. Cameras right there. Perfect. Okay, so the most expensive journal that I have ever seen sell was $1,700. $1,700 for a handmade journal. And I'm going to be 100% honest about it. So there was a particular Etsy store who was following a certain creator, and that creator has a really big following. And so every journal that she makes, and I'm being very vague on purpose, every journal that this creator made would sell very quickly. She would post them in her Etsy when they were done, and she did a flip through and they would sell very quickly. The creator has a very large following. Somebody was buying her journals. They were able to get in the Etsy right then and there and buy the journals. And they bought several of her journals. And her journals were priced at like $275 in that range, maybe $325, $275, something like that. And this one person bought several of her journals and then resold them into Etsy. And she used the creator's name and said these journals were made by her, because they were. But because that creator had such a large following and people really wanted those journals, they were willing to pay the $1,700 for that person's journal. You know, some people have so much money, I guess it doesn't matter to them, right? Like, there are people in this world that have so much money that they could never spend it all in their life. So what something actually costs really means nothing, because if they want it, they want it. Now, I can't imagine what kind of life that is, but what I'm saying is, the person who resold the $1,700 journal, she did not hand make it. It was not something she created for $1,700. It was basically like taking something like a Pokemon card, or what's the last big toy thing that was released where everyone fought over it and wanted it so bad, or whatever. She took something that she knew she could buy and that she could resell for a profit because she knew the demand was there. And the creator who made the journal found out about this and was very unhappy. And she did make a video and she did talk about how this has happened and how unhappy that it made her, that her work was being taken and resold. And the lady, basically took it away from one of the lady who made the journals, customers, followers, whatever, and just wanted to make a quick buck off of it. So, yeah, kind of like a scalper, kind of like that. Yeah. Starbucks cups. Yes, Shelly. And if anyone has an in for Starbucks cups or ever wants to share some of those Starbucks cups, my daughter is an avid collector and out searching for Starbucks cups all the time. When the little teddy bear thing at Christmas happened, yeah, she definitely wanted one. She went to a bunch of them. She tried. You know how the thing goes. You can never get them, right? So my daughter is definitely like, hey, if somebody can find me some Starbucks cups, let me know. So I'm going to say that right now. If anybody has a Starbucks cup hookup, text me so that I can get it together with my daughter and give her some Starbucks cups. Anyway, generally I don't condone that kind of thing, but my daughter's never going to spend $1,000 on a Starbucks cup. So over Christmas, and I don't know because I don't personally do it, but over Christmas, my daughter, I think it was some kind of like little plastic teddy bear cup or something that Starbucks came out with. And she wanted one really bad. And they came out, and of course each store had like one, or maybe some stores had none, or maybe the employees took them, who knows what, but whatever. Nobody could find them. And my daughter told me that the Starbucks cup that was supposed to be, I don't know what it was at Starbucks, maybe it was $50 or $60 at Starbucks, was selling for like $5,000 on eBay later that day. And they were selling. And I'm like, this is insane. But again, some people have so much money that the price of something doesn't matter to them. It doesn't. It's just, they want it. And, maybe they have no children and they have no family and they have so much money that when they are gone, they're gone, and they don't need to leave their money to their children or something or whatever, and they're just enjoying their life. So I'm not judging them. I'm just saying to some people the price of things is irrelevant. Oh my gosh. If you think you have a Starbucks cup that my daughter wants, you could text me. I will ask her, but she's always saying, hey mom, do you think anybody that through, the YouTube, do you think anybody that like works at Starbucks and can tell me when they're coming out and what stores will have them? I'm like, nobody knows this. Nobody releases this. I don't know what's up with my hair today. It's weird. Anyway, I have no idea what one she wants, but I will ask. If you text me, I will ask her for sure. But yeah, she's just into that kind of thing. She has a whole huge coffee bar at her house, and she has like every flavor of the Torani syrup that is possible to have. She has like this whole huge wall of all the syrup containers, and she's always making different flavors of coffee. And when Dutch Brothers comes out with whatever new flavor they have, or Starbucks comes out with whatever new flavor, she'll figure out how to make it at home so that she can save the money. She does get it at Starbucks and Dutch Brothers too, but you know, getting coffee every day is very expensive. So she'll figure it out and she'll be like, oh, it's half a pump of this and a pump of that. And her coffee does taste really exactly like the Starbucks and the Dutch Brothers. So she figures it out, but she has less time for those things now that she is a mother. She definitely has less time for those kind of activities now that she's a mother. Do I use a separate scanner or the one on the printer? I use the one on the printer. Always the one on the printer. I haven't looked at scanners in a little bit, but as far as I was aware, the scanner in the 3850 is just as good, if not better, than the regular standalone scanners. The last time I looked, it was. So I would just suggest you use your regular scanner. And if you're really into making digitals, if that's your thing, what I would suggest that you do is start scanning all of the old things that you buy from me or wherever you're buying old things, scan them. And also find a site that has images available for you to download and use, that has commercial licenses or that are copyright free. Like Graphics Fairy is like the number one for people who make what we make. There are many other ones, but figure out what site that is going to give you a bunch of images that are copyright free that you can use, and combine your old stuff with those not new, but combine your old stuff with those digitals that you can get that are copyright free images like flowers or a fairy or whatever, and combine the two. I think my favorite, and pretty much what I've seen in the market, is everyone else's favorite digitals. Combine old stuff, basically use all old stuff. They combine old actual scanned things they own with images that they're able to download from Graphics Fairy that are copyright free. And there's other sites, but combining the two is the highest selling digital on Etsy. The lowest selling digitals on Etsy are straight AI. And while I have used AI, and I do use AI for certain things, AI is great for lots of different things. But I will caution you that just pumping out AI digital after AI digital is not great for you. It's not great for your channel, and it's not great for your Etsy store. There's a lot of competition on Etsy for people who just make AI digitals, because you have to remember, on Etsy sellers can be worldwide, and in China they have it's like a college dorm room. They have entire buildings full of like college dorms where these people live, and their job is to make AI digitals for Etsy, and they pump them out hundreds and hundreds a day, and they list them into Etsy. Why Etsy allows that kind of selling is beyond me. That's the downside of Etsy. That's the part we didn't talk about, is the fact that Etsy allows so much flooding from China into the Etsy marketplace that it really dilutes people's work who actually make digitals and who actually take them into Photoshop and edit them and change them and combine elements and do collaging and do texturing and all that kind of stuff. But those huge college dorm buildings full of people, their sole purpose is to sell AI digitals on Etsy, and all that money goes right to the Chinese Communist Party. And I don't want to get super political, but Americans should not be giving money to the Chinese Communist Party. And China will not like my video, but that's just how it is. We should be supporting people in America who are working before we support people who are being forced to live in that kind of condition and being forced to pump out that kind of work. That's my whole take on the downside of Etsy. Is Etsy in recent times has allowed that huge flood of stuff from China, and they list like can openers in Etsy. Is a can opener that you would use to open a can of soup or something in your kitchen? Is that a craft supply? Is that a handmade item that Etsy was designed for? No, it is not. But Etsy allows it, and they call it a craft supply. So it's just flooding the market, and that's the downside that we didn't talk about. So you can't compete with AI. You just need to try to, you can't compete with AI. You need to try to make your digitals unique and make them stand out from the AI would be my advice. Thank you, Rose. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll ask her for sure. Yeah, AI is a touchy subject, and I'm aware of it. I think it is good to use for certain things. I do. Um, but just being that AI farming person where you're just, I made a purple rose AI digital, here it is. I made a pink rose digital, here it is. And there are people who make those kind of images and they sell them in printed paper packs. And, for some people that's good, but overall, the quality of things that AI is able to produce is never going to be the same quality as if you scan it and do the work yourself. I've used AI digitals. They are good for some purposes, but you need to try to do a little bit of work on your own, put them into Photoshop, combine them with something, texture them, make them a little bit different. I don't just put the digital from AI to there because there's legal reasons, but I don't like the fact that when I do make a digital like that, where it does have AI components in it, um, I would feel like I was stealing if I didn't do any work. I would feel like I was just stealing if I didn't take it into Photoshop and do some kind of work to it. Otherwise, I don't think it would be mine, right? I didn't create it. The AI thing created it, right? So you got to do a little bit of work yourself. I mean, you don't technically have to, but I think you should. They are beginning to appear everywhere. Yeah. Some people are really strongly against AI, and I understand. I do. I understand the threat to take away jobs. I understand that completely. I don't think that there is a whole lot that we're going to be able to do about it. I think embracing how it can improve your life and how you can work with it is my take on it. But other people completely refuse, and that's okay too. We don't know what's going to happen with it. Nobody knows. So, for me, I just try to embrace what parts of it can improve I can use to improve my life, make things easier for me that I do. And then if I do use content from AI, I definitely put my own spin on it and put it through Photoshop and do some editing to it. And before I just, put it out there. Cause like I said, I would feel like I was stealing. So the best way that they're AI digitals, A, if you look at them, you should be able to tell, but B, you could ask the person. And if the person refuses to answer you or gives you an answer skirting the question, then it's AI. Most people who use AI art will deny using it because they know people do not like it. Recently on Facebook, I saw a lady and she was posting that she had like 8 printers set up and she was printing all these paper packs and stuff and selling the paper packs and stuff. All of the art's AI, and she just makes it, prints it, sells it. Again, I would feel like I was stealing, but if she does that and she's having success with it and her customers know it is AI and they're okay with buying it, then that's her business and that's fine. But if she's trying to be like, I made these, her customers eventually will find out. So if you're trying to be shady and you're trying to cut corners, eventually people will find out and that person won't be in business very long. So it's okay. We just scroll on by what's not for us. It does. And you can see it doesn't form things perfectly. And so, the I have tried really hard to get it to make like beautiful women with, perfect faces and hands. And AI really struggles with faces and hands. It's very difficult. But it does make some good things, and it is good for some purposes. Um, it's just you got to do a little more editing and fine tuning of the things it gives you. But again, there's nothing wrong with it if you're happy with it and you know what you're doing. Like, it's AI, you're buying AI. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just caution, do a little work before you just pump it out. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, there are things. There are things for sure. So that's kind of, we talked about Etsy. Do you guys have any questions before we wrap this up? Yes, you did make your cats and they looked adorable. So see, again, Maria, I'm gonna use you for an example. Maria took I don't know if you took a picture and inputted it into AI, or if you just told AI to make you a picture of Siamese cats looking out the window or whatever it was. I don't know how exactly you did it, but what I'm saying is she took it and she made something that brought her joy. She made something that was fun to look at and it was cute. She didn't make it because she, was just going to sell a million of them or whatever. She made it because it brought joy to her life, right? So she used AI to bring joy to her life. Then she posted on Facebook and it brought joy to other people's lives. She wasn't selling it. There was no monetary transactions there. So I think using AI can be really good. Another good thing that AI can do is if you have antique photographs, like family photographs, you can take that old picture of your great grandparents and you can upload it to AI, and AI can clean up that image for you and give you a clean, perfect image, like you just took that picture today kind of image that you can save, like print out and have as a image, to frame or to scrapbook with or whatever. So there are many uses for AI that I think are very beneficial to what we do. The photo editing is specifically good for family photos that you know how family photos are not all acid free. Sometimes they yellow, sometimes they discolor. They're just, maybe they were blurry and grainy because they didn't have 28, 32 megapixels, whatever we're on now. But AI can definitely edit those photos and make them like they just were taken today with your iPhone. And that's a great thing. Um, is there anything harmful in that? Maybe, but if we go down that road, then we're going down conspiracy theories and everything else. So anyway, I think photo editing is great. I think making cute pictures is great. Again, if it brings you joy and you are not being dishonest or shady about it, I think it's great. Like if you're selling it and you're not being dishonest or shady about it, I think it's great. But there are always going to be those people out there who it's a quick buck for them and that's all they care about. So I don't actually have a specific program because I have not actually done it, but I've seen it done, and I don't have a specific program to refer you to. But if you search the internet for it, Rose, I'm sure a bunch of them will pop up. Some of them have free trials, and you can maybe get like 5 photos or something like that free where it'll do it. There's also, just search the internet, just Google it, and I'm sure they will come up. But some of them have paid things and some of them are free and some of them have free trials. So you need to try that out too. Yeah, I don't have one that I personally have put my family photos through. I have seen it, but not me personally. Yeah, Midjourney is good, honestly. I know that people had, I don't know if it's still called Da Vinci, but I know people like Da Vinci too. Is that the one, Da Vinci? I don't know. But there are a lot of those. Are those items on the table for sale on Tuesday? Just asking. Those are things that were left over from this week's sales that need to be put away or resold or whatever. But yes, that stuff back there from this week. She used Chat GPT. Yeah. And a lot of the Apple devices, they have everything pretty much has AI built into it. What I would tell you is see what it can do and give it a try if AI is something that you want to do. I think it's fine. You can make cute little, like say your grandson is having a birthday party. You could make cute little customized banners or invitations or whatever you wanted to make, with his cute little picture, and hey, come to my 5th birthday party or whatever. So I think there is a lot of reasons that AI is okay. It also can help with a lot of work things too. It can clean up spreadsheets. It can edit videos. It can make scripts. It can it can do lots of things that help out a lot of people. Bit slower. Yeah. Yeah. It's just different. It's like, remember getting, like, for some people, remember when cell phones first became affordable for the average person? It's like that. Some people were like, "Oh, God, no, I'm never gonna get one of those. Like, that's just, why do you need to have a phone stuck to you all the time?" All major technological advancements are met with some people who are cautious and say no and step back. And then some people jump forward. So this is a new thing. It's like the newest cell phone, right? It's the new thing that just happened to us in our world, in our life. AI just happened. There's going to be some people that step back and say, "No, I don't know about that." And then there's going to be some people who jump in with both feet. I don't know what's the right answer. No one does at this point, but just do the best we can with it. Yep. There's lots of fun things that can be done with it. Fun things. Aw, sorry you've been ill and missed sales. Yeah, we'll be here next week. Hope everybody's doing okay over there. Yep. Okay, so now we went down AI also. The road of AI. Next week, Tuesday, I will have a live sale. Thursday, I will have a live sale. Saturday morning, I will probably have an actual craft with me video, where we actually make things. We really did not make anything today. I cannot think of one thing we made. So, in all honesty, I woke up extremely tired and haven't had coffee yet. And then I did the whole spreadsheet from Thursday. So, yeah, I'm going to go get some coffee and I'm going to wake up and I can feel like right in here. I don't know if it's sinus pressure or what, but maybe it's just that I need coffee. Yeah. I think it's fun. I think it's definitely fun. Coloring pages of your kids or your grandkids. That'd be fun. I understand, Sydney. I do. I get it. And I never want anyone to feel like the only way that you can interact with me and the rest of the group is during a live sale. When I first started Craft With Me Lives over a year and a half ago, when I first started Craft With Me Lives, they were on Friday night. I sold on Tuesday and I crafted with you and hung out on Friday. The main reason why I started the Craft With Me's, and while I keep doing them, is because it is an opportunity for people to interact with me and with the other people on this channel without having any shopping, without having any pressure or whatever, it removes all of that and we just get to hang out. And when you only will be live, I'm going to say something really, really bad. So be prepared. I'm going to say something horrible and I can't help myself from saying it. But when the only way that you will come and interact with your audience is to take money from them, that is wrong. That is wrong. When you have a YouTube channel and you'll only make a how-to video if people subscribe and pay to your YouTube. So there's memberships on YouTube. Some channels make you buy a membership to watch their content. They won't make any project with you unless you pay them. They won't make a pocket unless you pay them. They won't show you how they made this amazing journal unless you pay them. That's wrong. Your audience is giving you their time. You guys all right now have just given me 3 hours or however long you were here. That's what I get out of this. I get that you're here hanging out with me. I don't need you to pay me to come here and appear for you. That's wrong. So y'all can do what you want with your channels. If you want memberships, go for it. But what I've seen is some creators, like I can tell you one person in particular who used to come to my live sales. She had a decent channel. It was like 30,000 something subscribers. She made her YouTube channel membership only, meaning she will only let you watch her videos if you paid for a membership. Guess what happened to her subscriber count? Can you guess what happened? Her 30 something thousand subscribers turned into 22 and trickling down every single day. Why? Because you told your audience, all I care about is money. That's the gist of it. I'm just not like that. I will share whatever it is I can share with you all. Like if you have a question and I can answer it, if I can help you in some way, if you need to know about glue, if you need to know about tape, I will tell you as much as I know about whatever it is that you guys need to know about. If you have any kind of question that you think I can answer for you, I'm happy to answer it for you. I do not need you to pay me to be here and to appear for you. I enjoy this. I enjoy talking with you. I enjoy making the stuff. And if you guys watch me make a pocket and you like it and you make the exact same pocket, that makes me happy. If you make a pocket that's like mine but different, that makes me happy. I'm just happy that you guys are happy. That's my main goal, is to make sure you guys are happy. So you'll never have to pay me to appear. I don't think that. So I'll be honest with you. YouTube really, really pressured me to turn on memberships. They offered me an amazing amount of money to tell you all to be a member to my channel. I will tell you. I don't know if YouTube will let me, but I will tell you how much money YouTube offered me. YouTube offered me $5,000 bonus to turn on memberships. They hounded me for months to turn on memberships to this channel, to make you all pay me to appear. And I kept telling YouTube, no, I'm not interested, clicking the Xbox, whatever. They started out offering me like $1,500 and the last offer was $5,000. And it wasn't just $5,000, it was $5,000 bonus to just turn on memberships. And then each one of you guys that I could convince to be a member of my channel, they were going to pay me X amount more money. And I'm like, but why? but why is it so important to YouTube that I turn on memberships? And I'll tell you why it's so important to YouTube. YouTube wanted to make money off of you all. And they were going to let me make some money too if I turned on memberships, right? But YouTube saw that you guys come here regularly, that you're an engaged audience, that you like my content, and they knew if I clicked the button that said memberships, that you all are so good and so kind and so amazing that you would probably become a member of my channel because you like me, you want to support me, whatever the case may be, right? YouTube knew that you probably would do that. So that's why they wanted me to do it. They wanted me to turn on YouTube memberships so that they could make the money off of those memberships. I will never do that. I will never, ever do that. You guys support me in many other ways. I certainly do not need to be paid to appear. But I think for some channels, YouTube had pressured them into doing that. They pressured them. Well, first of all, they dangled a big carrot in front of their face of 5,000, or in my channel, small. I can imagine they probably offered more money for people who had larger subscriber count, but they probably dangled a carrot in front of them and that person took it because YouTube tells you it's going to be great, but you should know it's not. Anyway, so that happened to this one channel that used to come here, and she would appear in my stream occasionally, and lots of us knew her. But she did that. She turned on memberships, and it was not good. Her channel went down a lot, and once you lose that, it's very hard to get back. So YouTube does pressure. They do. They pressure in several ways, but I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. YouTube is really great for lots of things. I just don't think memberships are right for me and for this type of content. Membership might be great for other people. It might work out great for other audiences and other kinds of things, but it's not something I'm ever interested in doing. Yeah, that's right. That's kind of the feeling. So it's a kind of the same thing with why I don't do buy me a coffee, or why I don't do Patreon, or why I don't do those other things. So I have thought about doing buy me a coffee only for putting digitals over there and having it be like a free digital thing. We may do something like that, but if I ever do something like that, it's because I'm also offering free digitals or something. I'm never just going to be like, "Hey, pay me to appear." I think paying somebody to appear is wrong. They're supporting you. They want to support you. Like, why would you charge them money? It just doesn't make sense to me. You guys, and don't be like, "Oh, thank you, thank you." Like, I appreciate it, but I'm just being straight and honest with you guys. Like, if you do start a channel, or you have a channel, be mindful of what YouTube offers you isn't always in your best interest. YouTube offers things probably through some kind of like auto generated, your channel meets this criteria, so we're going to offer you this. Just be mindful that what YouTube offers you is not really tailored to your exact situation, and it may not be in your best interest. I think buy me a coffee is, I'm not saying buy me a coffee is bad. What I'm saying is, buy me a coffee, if it doesn't include anything for you, like if you're not getting anything, then it's bad. I've seen for buy me a coffee, I have seen most people, they have a section of digitals that are free. And so you get something for that, right? You might give them $10, but you actually get something that you can use. You get access to a bunch of digitals that you can print out, that you don't have to buy the digitals, right? So buy me a coffee is different. I don't really know much about Patreon. The only thing I've ever had experience with Patreon is one particular lady, and I had a Patreon membership, and that was because she made you have a Patreon membership to be able to purchase from her. So we'll talk about that for just a minute too, because I thought it was evil. But in order to shop with this woman, she required that you be a Patreon member. And it was like, but they're shopping with you, like they're buying stuff from you. And what you were buying was extremely overpriced, high end, like the top tier. I'm asking so much money for this item. But she had an in with, a product that no one else could really get. And she put the things together and she offered them for sale. And the only way you could shop with her is if you were already a Patreon member. And I was like, but they're giving you money when they buy the thing. So why are you like double dipping? It felt like double dipping to me. So I thought the Patreon to purchase was double dipping. Yeah. Yes. Amazon links are essential, because when you make a video and you use a product in it, people want to know where they can also get that product. So linking it in Amazon is just giving them the link. They don't have to purchase it. They can decide from there. Also, they can see the link. Some people don't even want to purchase item from Amazon. They just want to see all the specifics about the item. They need to see the size. They need to see, well, what type of glue is it? Like whatever, right? So the Amazon link gives them all the product information directly from the manufacturer or the seller of it. And if they want to purchase it, it's there. The Amazon commission is 1%, 1% For almost everything, it's 1%. So it doesn't cost you anything. If you want to buy it, you buy it. The person whose link you used gets 1%. So if you buy a $20 bottle of glue, I'm going to get 20 cents. Like, it all adds up. I'm not knocking it and I'm not being unappreciative. What I'm saying is I don't think an Amazon link is greedy or anything like that. I think it helps out creators because if they didn't use Amazon links, you would get a bunch of questions asking, well, where was that paper pack from? What was that paper pack called? And honestly, the questions take a lot of time. So an Amazon link explains all of that and it's there if they want to buy it. And honestly, your linking an Amazon product takes time and work and effort, and you get a very little return. But overall, in a month, I probably get like $20 or something. Some months it might be 40 from Amazon links. I haven't been doing videos, so I don't really get anything anymore. But what that helped with was buying glue and buying supplies, or sometimes I used it for the gift card for the giveaway in the Facebook group. So that's my take on Amazon links. Aw. Well, again, this is just my completely like unfiltered take on these things. If you're using them and you're happy and they're working for you, great. I just think for my exact situation, I already sell things. I don't need to charge for viewership or that kind of thing. The hype button? I don't know what hype button is. No, I'm not done with 365 series. I promise it's coming. Hopefully, I film them tomorrow. Hopefully. I don't want to keep working on Sundays. I really do need to keep Sunday as a rest day. And hopefully, in the near future, I can make that work. But this week, I didn't have any employees. They both were off again. So it was just me. And that meant I couldn't film throughout the week. And now I only have Sunday to film. So I'm hoping that I film tomorrow. I don't know what the hype button is. I haven't heard of it. The Buy Me a Coffee, I think a lot of people do offer free digitals. So if a creator has Buy Me a Coffee, by no means am I saying that they're bad or anything like that. All I'm saying is I don't need extra places to, um, I don't need extra places for income at this point. We're okay. We're all good. Mm, trying to follow a conversation. Yeah. Um, No hype for lives or shorts, I see. Randomly appearing. I see. YouTube is always doing different things, and they may have told me about it in an email, but I didn't see it. Maybe it appears on certain people's channels, and it's certainly not going to appear on mine lately without putting. If I don't do 365 videos, YouTube doesn't like me. So that's this the way it works. All right. So hype comes up in the comment area. Okay. You can only hype 3 videos a week. I see. I see. Well, YouTube probably doesn't like this video anyway, because I kind of said bad things about YouTube pushing the I have to be careful. YouTube, I said bad things about them pushing people into the membership. Um, it is what it is. I felt pushed. I remember the other creator, she kind of made an apology video when she was pushed into it and she lost a bunch of subscribers. She kind of made an apology video and did she outwardly said YouTube pushed her into it, which I mean, they offered you a lot of money and kept harassing you about it, so I guess that's pushing. kind of feels like that. But again, they're offering those things like it's just an algorithm kind of thing saying, hey, this channel might benefit from this or whatever. And it's not YouTube understanding what we do here. It's not YouTube understanding our exact audience. And so when they recommend things to you, just be cautious and think it through. I really did very little crafting, Rosalind. Honestly, it was mostly just chatting. Mostly just a bunch of chatting. Awesome. Well, apparently there's no hyping this one. I don't think there was anything to hype anyway, so we're all good. All right, guys. I'm going to let you go. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Like I said, I will be here Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday next week. Saturday is tentative as long as I don't have to look at houses or buy houses or whatever the case may be or move. So I'll be here Tuesday and Thursday, and I'll let you know next week about Saturday. But I'm trying to do it Saturday morning at 9 a.m. my time, every Saturday. So just pencil me in Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday mornings at 9. And good luck house hunting. I'm going to close my eyes and hope that magic appears and the magical house just falls into my lap. Because at this point, that's where it's at. I hope that you guys do something fun. Get out those unfinished projects and go through them like I said in the beginning of this video. Decide what ones you're still passionate about making. Get them out, get them going. I'll be here every Saturday for the rest of January, and we'll just be making whatever, not a specific journal kit or anything like that. So it's a good time. If you get a project out and you have some time on Saturday mornings, come hang out with us and we'll just make our own individual product or projects. And then in the Facebook group, there's still an ongoing challenge. You guys can join that challenge at any time. Every day that you post an entry, it counts for one entry into the drawing. The drawing is held on the 1st of February, and I'm drawing two $50 Amazon gift card winners from it. One is for the pocket challenge, where you are showing at least one photograph of a pocket that you made. It can be any kind of pocket, as long as it's for a junk journal. And you post a picture in the Facebook group. That's one challenge. The other challenge is just post a picture of anything that you handmade. It can be literally anything for a junk journal. It could be a cover. It could be a complete junk journal. It could be a tag. It could be whatever. So very easy challenges. I don't want to add a whole, oh, you must make this kind of a thing challenge, because we all have enough on our plate. So I did very easy challenges. There'll be two pretty much every month, I think, throughout the year, unless we do some additional ones or something. But yay. Thank you for texting me. I will send her all of those pictures here shortly. They just spent the first night in their brand new house last night, so I'm sure they're very tired, but I will send her some pictures. Thank you guys so much for thinking of her about that. She's always asking me, so that's awesome. Get out the new printer. That would be fun. Yep. Print some digitals out. That would be fun. All right, guys. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you here on Tuesday. Bye, guys.